and how to do it safely with Adara and the professor.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl, Adara Panera. I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to migrate on over from everybody else. We already have Papa Powell saying, Rumble takeover, baby. We got Darwin. We got the Hayes Records. Even Big Billy Turner there in chat. I'm not even sure if you're big. I just like the way it rolls off the tongue. Frank Jones, Mateus Lane, we got Charon, we got Stock Up, we got Benson, we got Nate Belt as well, Bob Dubb, we got Saul G, Bruce Richardson, damn, and we got Shannon Gregory, Paul Milligan, Benton C, the Pawns, the Fawns, no Lambo trade today, my man. Shout out to Adam DeLuce, Big Kyle Burdett, baby. We got Oh Boy Trader, oh boy. Oh my God, no way. Someone made an oh boy trader for the one that can obe. Ash, Maui, and Jason Corbett. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. I'm just sipping my tea and stirring my tea and doing things to the tea. But other than that, we're here to talk about volatility today. So actually a pretty apt time. Right now I'm actually in Sharif's friend's Alfred stock that he talked about while he was on the show. Archer Daniels Midland, ADM. They had really rough earnings and they were up all day yesterday. They announced a buyback related thing today. We're going to make sure we get the exact details on this. Yes, so $1 billion accelerated share repurchase agreement. So that's a really nice look. Yesterday, they also announced an existing $2 billion worth of shares under its existing share repurchase program. So lots of share repurchase announcements. I am playing this range. We're adding in. We're taking out at the top. We're gonna keep some of the position in here, and then we're just kind of finagle our way. I know it's not exactly lower highs and higher lows, so it's gonna be a bit of a scalpy or sniper type situation. You know, they usually say swiper, no swiping, says Dora the Explorer, but right now we're gonna explore this range and hopefully swipe some profits here at the top.
I like
How
it.
are you doing? I see you're in a trade.
No, I just got it. Just doing some scalps, but let's get that lesson ready for the day. We are talking about risk management in a volatile market, and I wouldn't say today's awfully volatile, but there are pockets of volatility here and there, and so it's good to know exactly how to kind of cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that you have money left in the account to trade tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the white water rapids, essentially, of volatile markets can be exhilarating, but they do also come with greater risk of getting swept away. This belabored metaphor there. Here are some crucial risk management techniques to navigate these periods. Let's start with position sizing. Very important. This refers to the amount of capital that you allocate to each trade. So in volatile markets, risk management strategy says that you should downsize your position so as to not get wiped out if the trade is to go against you. A smaller position helps to limit the potential losses if the market moves against you. Now, look, I think there is two schools of thought on this where, you know, you're going to have people telling you, no, wait till the market heats up, and then that's when you increase your position size and look to capitalize on the big moves. And so I would say I do agree with that, but I don't know if that's necessarily the right formula for beginner traders who really don't have a feel for the market quite yet. So as a general rule, if you're a newer trader, position size down during volatile markets. Also, you got to use stops. I mean, we've included the stop loss explanations in almost every lesson that we've taught. So essentially, if you don't know what these are automatic orders that you put in that will essentially sell your position if you're long or buy it if you're short if the price reaches a certain level. And so during volatile markets, it may be prudent for beginner traders to tighten their stop loss orders during these volatile periods in order to limit losses and sudden price swings. And you're going to get plenty of sudden price swings during these volatile markets. In case you haven't been looking at these small gap gappers that we have running in on a day basis in triple digit territory, well over 100%, have a look at how those have been trading, and you can kind of get my drift there. And then taking profits a little bit early, right? Don't get too greedy. Volatility can be quite fleeting. And so consider taking your profits a little sooner than you typically would in order to lock in those gains before a potential market reversal. So this is all during volatile markets. This strategy is known as quicker profit taking and helps protect your capital. Again, I think that there are two schools of thoughts on this where, you're going to have some individuals who have more market experience say, look, Sharif, volatile markets, that means more potential upside. You got to hold those winners. I see what you're saying, but I don't necessarily feel that that may be the right formula for a lot of the novice traders, as again, they really don't know too much about the ups and downs of the market, not enough repetitions there. And the risk to reward ratio during volatile markets also has to be looked at. Adair and I did R&R when we first started the show back when I think it was like late September. When did we start the show?
I think we started like October or November?
October?
Yes,
no, it definitely was October. Because remember we had Uptober?
Yeah,
and it didn't end up being Uptober?
No, it was October.
So we got to look back. Anyway, the first week of the show, we did a thorough analysis of R&R, risk to reward ratio. Essentially, during volatile markets, though, the ratio compares your potential profit to your potential losses on any one trade. In volatile markets, aim for a higher risk to reward ratio. So if you were typically doing 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, you may be looking for 3-to-1 here because of the volatile nature of the current market. This means you should only take trades where the potential profit significantly outweighs the potential loss. In other words, I think what this is all trying to say is wait for your A+ setup during volatile markets in order to ensure you don't get rinsed. Okay? Diversification as well, very important during these volatile markets. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you're trading, if you're holding a swing in a cybersecurity name, you may not want to hold two names in that category. You may want one cybersecurity, one chips, example, one EVs. Diversify your swing. Obviously, you're not going to diversify your day trades because if something's hot, you trade it. But if something goes against you, if there's a macroeconomic event or there's something specific to that industry, you're not all in on one. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your capitals across different assets to reduce your overall risk. And this essentially helps ensure that a downturn in one area doesn't wipe out your entire portfolio. Okay? And hedging as well, super important during volatile markets. Consider using hedging strategies to further protect yourself. This might involve buying put options, for example, to limit downside risk, or using futures contracts as another example to offset potential losses in the underlying holdings. So if you're going long a Mag 7 name, you may want to take the future short in case something, or the opposite, in case it really goes against you there. Okay, so pre-trading preparation as well. The last item on the risk management docket here. So keep emotion out of the trades, guys. Have your profit targets in mind before entering the trade and stick to them, especially during the times of higher volatility. And you should really do your darndest to distinguish between the noise or the chatter surrounding a stock and the signals and the tangible reasons that you should be entering or exiting a trade. A lot easier said than done, obviously. The market noise can lead you towards the ticker, but make sure that you have a trading plan and the signals support it before entering a volatile asset there. So I absolutely agree with that last part there. Dare added there. Keep emotions in check and stay away from the noise. What are you looking at there, Dare?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly out of this Archer Daniels Midland, and I have to say, I don't have any complaints. I'm pretty happy with this. Got involved at the bottom of the range. Then I noticed we were kind of having a harder time. Initially, I was going to save a piece for the dream, either for that 59 area, or I was going to keep reloading. But I noticed we were kind of stuck in this 80s range. So I was like, you know what, Adara, just kind of start piecing it out. It looks like we're not going to maybe get as much range continuation as we initially thought. That's cool. Keep on keeping on. So I was trying to get all of this out around that 58.95s. It was a part fill, so we still have a couple shares floating around in the horizon here in this range. We'll have to see what we do here. If I can get the rest of that position filled, that'd be great. There's really not that many shares left here. If not, we're gonna have to wait and see. I'll take some of them out earlier. But right now, I have no complaints. Happy with this trade. As Obi says, where's the next trade? And I'm certainly looking for one. I liked Rumble before we broke out. So I was watching this before we had that TikTok news, and I did like, I have to say, I like that we had higher highs, higher lows, this top of this range at 850. Clearly, I have missed the boat on that. Rumble's like, nope, we're on a whole new channel to make a kind of weak pun, continuing to stream to the upside here. Yeah, I don't have much of a look on this, but it's staying on my side chart in case something does come into play, because only 5 million shares in volume that I'm seeing, but pretty spicy, and I definitely think there's some kind of opportunity somewhere for something in Rumble. Should it calm down a little bit and fall into some kind of range. Tesla also, I'm watching. I don't have a ton of clear levels yet, but I just have it on my side chart. I'm always interested in what this one's doing. We had a bit of a double bottom here at that 170.80 area, and we did eclipse that earlier trough of 172.25, so I think something could be on the horizon. I'm just not sure what yet, but I'm keeping my eye on it with that potential reversal and previous levels that could come into play.
All right, let's look at the small cappers on the day, because we just had a new one come in here by the ticker SWIN, up big. Multiple halter to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're in our 5th halt to the high side here on SWIN. This thing started out its life. Where did it start out its life today? Okay, so the closing print on this yesterday was exactly $29. All right, now we're printing 48.40. It's, like I said, halted for the 1, 2, 3, 5th time. They've all been 5-minute halts except the 3rd one. So every single halt's been 5 minutes except the 3rd one there at around 10:56. That one was a 10-minuter, and so we'll wait for this bad boy to open up. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's go to the daily and figure out where the areas of resistance could be. So this thing was like $2, $3 for the majority of last year, and then it started increasing incrementally at the start of this year. But it really had an outsized day. I'd say March 6th. Why don't I remember this stock? March 6th, this thing went bonkers. All right, we went all the way up into that $66 area. Where we're halted at right now, just south of 50, this clears all the highs that we had on the 7th and the 8th. Even though the closing prints were awfully close to the opening prints, look where the wicks are. The highest wick there was on the 8th, and that took us into $44 so almost $44 territory. Now we're $48.50 territory. So the next level of resistance is going to go back all the way to the 6th over here, and that takes us up into that $66 area. So a bit of a gap between where we're currently halted and $66. SWIN, $677 million market cap. The float, 2 million shares. Let's bring in trade ideas. Use code TraderTV20 for 10% or 20% off. SWIN, you can see the same thing I'm looking at here. Negligible short float, not negligible, but 3.5% is not something that we're really looking for here. So we'll keep eyes on this one, but you know, it's trading dollars at a time, so it might be off limits for me, but thought I'd mention it. We'll wait for this one to open up. I'll tell you what the tap is real quick, SWIN. So the tap on this one, 48.30, so 10 pennies lower than where we closed out at. And the time of the halt was exactly, let's go computer, bro. Okay, 11:13 and what? 11:13:13. Oh, that's not good. 11:13:13 was the halt time.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. It's just, we're jumping.
On the 13th of March.
Oh, wow.
More 13s.
You're kidding?
Yeah, it's the 13th of March.
It is the 13th of March.
It's not Friday, though. It's not Friday.
It would have been better if it was halted at 1:13:13, because then that would have been 13:13. Yeah, anyway, we're just kidding. SWIN halted at 11:13, so that's got about 2 more minutes. We'll see what this one does. The other small cap gappers, thank you, Scott, for reminding me about SOUN. We had a couple of good trades on SOUN. You have a triple bottom here at $7. The institutional prints come in at 7, and then you have that IB low at 7, and then even at, for whatever reason, 10:30, yet again, we bounce off 7. So 701 LOD, low of day at the moment. The pre-market high on this one is 777s. 777 there, the pre-market high that we made at about 5:20 a.m. We're still below that, 766, the official high on this one. That's not the only one. Rumble continuing to go. So this one went yesterday, and today it's going again, another 12.91%. We're on our way to 13% and looking to knock on the door of $9. 894 HOD. We're at 892 right now, so we are at the high of days. I have a trade on this one, a loser. I'm going to show it to you in a second. I got bamboozled out of this for the flat top break here at 855, but that's all right. We'll look to reignite some trade somehow on this one. If this comes back into 855 or thereabouts, that's an excellent support level to get this one at. It looks like it's on its way to $9 right now, but RUM absolutely printing. GXAI, this one was in triple digit territory today. This one had all the check marks beside its name. Definable pre-market high, breaking the pre-market high, above VWAP, but look what it did at around 10:50 here, 10 minutes before we got on the show. It broke that $12 area where the volume weighted average price was trading. It's trying to bounce off $10 now, trying to go up into $11, but we won't trade this if and until it is able to reclaim the volume weighted average price. GXAI, great look on the day. And then the O'Leary name, MindMed, showing up again. Look at this chart over here. 15% of the goods. Shout out to the Katina man, baby. 15% up on the day, 915 high. This one started off its life in 785 territory, so well above $1 now. Let's keep an eye on this $9 area here. Reason being, obviously, it's a whole dollar area, but we crested out at $9, tanked into, well, not tanked, retraced back into 8.25, and then we took 9. So if we're using 9 initially as an area of resistance, should we be looking here for a bounce off that $9? We already got a couple of bounces off 9, but it didn't go awfully far. We're at 901 right now. Let's watch what this one does. Perhaps it presents us with other opportunities. I've got coin up as well. Yeah, I've already talked about all these other ones. I've got coin up because the Katina man was trading that. I want to have eyes on it. Looks like it might be putting in a bit of a head and shoulder. Somebody, I don't know who, but somebody is over $1 in the money on that coin short. So shout out to him. And we're going to do, we don't have the stream deck opened up right now, Katina man, so we're going to have to do that. Because then how are we going to hit all the spinning the money and all that good stuff right there? He's short 269, and we just got a dip right there into 263 territory. So the dude's almost $6 in the money. Guys, SWIN halted again to the upside. This time, not 46, 52.80. Right now, it's up 81%. This one didn't stay open for all that long. The second it opened, it seemed to halt again. So it looks like as if we're not going to get any liquidity on this name. Halted to the high side.
Yeah, there's a lot of names happening here. A lot of people mentioning Best Buy. Here's Best Buy. No news on this. I was reading earlier that the CEO of Woof is getting replaced. That's Petco Health. Is getting replaced by, I believe, a former Best Buy executive. But I'm just trying to get the exact story on that because I can't find this now. But yeah, I mean, former Best Buy exec is going to step in as interim CEO or interim chief executive here for Petco. But in terms of Best Buy itself, I'm not seeing any news, honestly, and the volume is pretty weak. We're under 350,000 shares. Nice move down here, kind of trying to pop off that 90 MA, but we haven't done much yet. Honestly, I'm sorry, I don't have much of a read on this name, but I know a lot of people in the chat were looking at it. I mean, generally, the lower high is not really a great look. If we have a 90 MA bounce, that could be nice, but the lack of volume here kind of says a lot to me. We're still up on the day, though. We're up about 1.3%. My P-Pro 8 decided that it was not buying Best Buy. It was like, best sell. No, I'm joking. Let's look at the daily, though, to see what kind of read we can get on Best Buy for everybody here, because I know that is a name that we have people looking at. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of curling a little bit on the daily in Best Buy. Definitely, we've been weaker, that's for sure. We had a bit of a downward move. Then we made this lower high here again on December 27th. Then we made a higher, we kind of made a slightly higher high from that previous high. That was going to be on February 29th, but we still haven't eclipsed that $85 level. So not a lot of strength here on BBY. And yeah, that lack of volume does make it a little bit hard to look at this one for intraday opportunities. But yeah, I hope that helps everybody. I know we're just looking at that name, so hopefully that's some kind of read. The main, also, Freddie the Friendly Guy was asking about SOXS, so let's do that. SOSX, is that that's on the Amex or the?
That's the yeah, it should be Amex.
Thank you. There we go. There it is. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if it was, because I know I always get confused because the Qs, I thought, because they were the futures when I first checked them, were going to be on the Amex, but they're actually on the NQ, which makes sense. But anyways, nice. Oh, nice look for the SOXS. This is the inverse semiconductor. Semiconductor bear shares leveraged 3 times. So yeah, I mean, with these semiconductors to the downside, nice time for SOXS to move or to moon. Nice little bounce here off the 9 EMA. Like I said, I'm a little bit hesitant around some of these inverse names just because I'm a bit more risk intolerant, but I think this is a nice look here, nice little bounces for the SOXS. Congrats to you, Freddie, the friendly guy. Sounds like you're printing on this name. And nice look overall. I did get out of the one trade I was in earlier today, which is that ADM. I said earlier I had a partial fill. We ended up getting fully filled here, and the range didn't go much higher, so no complaints. It looks like we could still have a flat top break, so I might have been a bit hasty, but I just really wanted to add more to the position and wasn't able to do so. So I decided to scalp it out. Please just punch, tickled pink, as someone was suggesting yesterday. The other thing I'm looking at that honestly I'm kind of kicking myself for not getting involved in when I first had that inclination to do so is Microsoft. On the 3-minute, well, the 5-minute here works as well, but I was kind of looking at the 3-minute. Higher highs, higher lows, just take it off kind of as it gets to the top of the range. That would be my approach. So I need to wait and watch a little bit for a nice point of entry, but I still think there's some kind of potential here for Microsoft to go past the Bill Gates to the upside, hopefully. How are you doing? I see Rumble.
Good. I'm putting a dip trade here on RUM to defend this top area of the range. I've got a dip trade set up on this. It just rejected 9. It tried to take 9, got a rejection there. So I'm putting a dip trade at 77s to defend this top area range. We'll see if we get the fill. If we don't, we may have to chase this. Oh, I don't want to chase it. Obviously, I'd rather get the right entry. We'll pack our patience. We'll see. But as I look at some of these mega caps, Adara, I see a lot of Adara Panera type trades here, okay? So all I see is Amazon very sideways between 176.50 and 177. Look how many topping tail candles and rejections at 177 we have. We've been doing that essentially since 10:10. So an hour and 10 minutes of 177 being a top on AMZ. You had these 2 candles over here where you actually got the break, the actual break of 177. You got up to 170.16, 177.16, but you immediately retraced. The only thing though that would concern me about this, if I was trying to take the range over and over, is the consecutively higher lows on these wicks, Adara. So they hold the 20, and the 20 is the yellow line on my chart. So, you know, it's a range trade until it's not. But to me, right now, given that it's up 0.86, given that the chart pattern looks awfully bull flaggish, I would say this resolves to the high side some way, somehow, and we end up getting a 177 break on the day, a break and hold, not just a quick break. Above that 177, but for who knows when. Right now we're ranging between that 50-cent area at 176.50 and the whole dollar area at 177. So we'll look to see if we can bamboozle something into Amazon. Then you guys saw the Katina man take that Apple long for a dollar winner, but it's been kind of doing the dance here north of 170 for a while. I don't want to say this has been consolidated because it looks like it's rounding top right now on its way back down near low a day. Low a day right now on Apple is at 170 3/4. It's been rejecting the 10 period over and over and over on its way back down. We'll have to wait and see if this can put in a higher low and then maybe a higher high through that 171 1/3. So AAPL looks like a hockey stick down and to the right kind of on the day, right?
The hockey stick.
Say that again? The Katina man wants me to look at the beleaguered name, otherwise known as Intel. And we all know about Intel right now. You know, they can't live without government money, and they may not even be getting it. Who knows? Who knows?
Ouch.
Ooh.
I love Neil.
As you just installed the stop.
Here, just mark down.
Say it again, Katina man.
Just the #1 trade.
Okay, so the Katina man's handed me the sticky note, and he wants me to read the #1 trade idea. And it says INTC 45SS, means short sale at 45. Report of Pentagon pulling. That's exactly what's written there. So let's have a look at what we're doing on the Intel on the day, AKA can't live without government money. We got 44 hold right now. So it was a big boy rejection off 45. You had multiple wicks into 45. We did the wick shimmy dance, Adara, from the south side of 45, like we do the wick shimmy dance on the south side of the 100 point level, and all the way down into 44. We're barely holding on to 44 right now. We're at 44.07. Keep your eye at that whole dollar level. We've been hugging the bottom end of Bollinger's for a while now as Intel has been making its way down on Yeah, tough news item there from the Pentagon and the Commerce Department. SWIN halted again to the high side. What is this, number 6, number 7? 58.30, this thing can't stay open. Every single halt has been 5 minutes saving except for one. So make sure you're looking at the time and sales. That's a little trick. Look at the time and sales to see when the last entry was, add 5 or 10 minutes onto that, and then you'll know when this bad boy will open up. Halted again at Adair, 58.30.
Yeah, that is quite the look. Also, I have to say, side note as well, I love that as of late, Sean has been resting the sticky note on the bearer bowl.
Yes.
I don't know if you, it's like such a cute little like holder. Right now, it's not, but that's because we were just looking at the sticky note. But yeah, I like that the sticky note has its own little like protector in the bearer bowl. I guess, yeah, and it works too because I guess if there's more bullish names, I'm assuming they'll have the bull up and then, supporting that. So I don't know, overthinking it, but I thought that was fun.
No, it's pretty cool.
Also, this Microsoft trade, speaking of overthinking, okay, so I got involved in the short here. I know I said I was initially looking for long range on this, but look at these topping, there we go. We got filled on please as punch. Look at these topping tail candles. I saw it last time too. We had this curl up and we did continue to make higher highs, higher lows. However, before we did that, we had a big move to the downside. And that move to the downside ended around where we had some chop and turn earlier to the upside. Oh, I had a larger position there than I thought. That's cool. Oh, never mind. We went long here. I should have really been. We have a fat finger time, so you know what Neil says. If you have a fat finger, get out of it ASAP, Rocky. So we're getting out of this because I don't want to be involved anymore. But yeah, really, like I chose to get out where I did because of just kind of what I was looking at here on this area too. Like we dipped to where we had that earlier area of I guess chop and turn, and then we went back up. So that was kind of the logic on that one. Let's see if we can extricate ourselves from this Microsoft trade. Where did I even, oh, there we go. I can see in the bottom there where I got filled. So let's try to get out around here, get out about flat, just so that we can leave this unplanned fat finger moment. But yeah, that was kind of the look there with MSFT. It would have been a better trade had we not accidentally added more than we wanted to, but that's okay. Like my big strategy for today that I'm really working towards is if it's not really a range trade, I'm going to take a lot less shares with it. And if it's one of my more planned rangier trades, we're going to go into it with a little bit more viciousness, a little bit more swiftness, and a little more preparation. I found that was where I had a lot, some successful trades yesterday because, that NVIDIA move where I was in the trade for less than a minute, I had some IWM scalps, and that was just very true to my scalpier nature. We're finally out of this Microsoft move. Whereas when I was having some of these trades, like even that meta trade yesterday, I know you were crushing it on meta yesterday. There were good meta trades yesterday. It just wasn't really my range style, so I wasn't able to do as well. So if I want to take a trade like that, I'll still consider taking it if it sets up, but I'm going to take it with the less share size, and I'm going to focus more of my energy on my range scalps. That was my reflection I did yesterday. There is the bear, and there is the sticky note.
I like how Ty's neck is just right in
what
that
a shot.
Ty, turn around. Oh, no. Ram. There we go. I like the sticky. We got to give more love to...
I love Trend to Ticker, the trading turtle.
Yeah. We need to give him more love. He's being confused for many different things right now. People call him an anime character and all this other stuff. It's a her. Sorry.
Her name's
excuse
Trenda.
me. Sorry.
I
didn't mean to do that. I know people get very sensitive about that. But Adara, what I wanted to talk about was AMZN. All right. And I know I just finished yapping about it, but I'm liking this. Now, we had another failed break through 177, so it was only the third one here since around 10 this morning. And right back down we go into that area where we're ranging. So we're looking for something here on AMZN. Let's pull up Amazon. All right, hold on. I just got filled on Rumble, so I'll have to put that Amazon trade on the back burner for a sec. Now, the whole point on this Rumble trade was to defend that 8 3/4 area. Why? Because we obviously had a consolidation top here before we broke it at around 11.03. So I'm looking for a hold at 11 3/4. Where's my line in the sand? Well, it's the making of a new low, right? So it's going to be around right here at 8.55. We'll see what we get on this bad boy, but I'm looking for a hold of the 3/4 and then a retest of 9. So we'll see what we get there. Right now it's holding for the moment, but who knows for how long. Let's pack our patience on that. Now let's load up the Amazon chart because that's the one that I want to weasel my way into. All right, what do we got? See, again, keeps rinsing and repeating that level, but I feel like I missed it here. So I'm going to wait for it to either reject off 177 or come back down to my level again, and then we'll have something on it. I need to get the bottom end of the range if I'm going to size into this one so that the trade is worth it in that sense. So we'll go ahead and watch. Again, it's in the mid-range right now, in the high 70s, mid 80s. It's ranging between 50 to $1. So about a 50 penny range there. All right, back to Rumble. We're 11 pennies in the money on this one as we got literal bottom wick on RUM, but that's not what we wanted, Dara. We want a 9 test and break. So we'll de-risk in front of 9 if we make it back up to 9. That's a big if. And then we'll, save a piece for the daydream, and we'll try to take it through 9. That's if it does that. It's strong on the day, 12 3/4. Nothing bad about this one on the day. GC. Why 870 as rum as an entry? Why not the 1 minute or EMA? Well, that's a great question, dude. Let's talk about that. What do you see over here? So, I respect the fact that you want to use technical indicators. Fantastic. But it's not the only thing that it's in use, right? Look at the price action itself. So what did we get up here at around 1045? We bumped up aggressively through that 855 break. Every move into 855 until that 1047 time slot had been rejected, okay? And then we broke it with the viciousness, as my friend Adara likes to say, right? But we didn't break it right away. We had a bit of a top here at 875, right? And so if we have a top at 875, to me, that looks like a key area of resistance, not a major one, an intraday area of resistance. So if you were to clear that 875 area and then come back to it, the idea here should be that you should hold up at that 875 area. And we'll see whether it does or not. Right now, it's coming right back down off that 890 touch into 870. So if it gives up the ghost here, we're going to have to get out through the break of 855. But that was the reason I got in at 875, owing to this specific area over here acting as a bit of a top. Nick D. Sharif just casually calling local bottom on rum to the penny.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, bottom wick, yeah.
Well, I don't even know if it's going to hold. That's the thing, Adair. So that's why I don't want to toot my own horn, because it could break at 875, right? We could absolutely break it below, and we're on our way, it looks like, to breaking it at the moment. So that's what it is, GC. I hope that helps you on that one. I'm continuing to look at Amazon at the range between 177 and 177.5, and I'm going to continue to look at Rumble.
Yeah, I was going to look at Amazon, but I think, too, I find with this one, we're kind of having a hard time. At least for me, I like my ranges to be a little bit smoother. And this Amazon range has been a bit more, it's not been a really speedy delivery. Let's put it this way. I think the package is maybe a little bit lost in the mail. I agree with John Szymanski saying Amazon's a bull flag if I've ever seen it. You do have that move up here from 176 to 177, so it's a nice movement. We do have that chop and churn. I'm not saying it won't break or that it's not going to continue to be a range. I'm just not sure it's the type of range play that I'm looking for right now. I'm going to be really honest. I was looking at this earlier around when we were around here, and then we kind of broke higher, and I was like, let's leave it be. It's always on the side chart, so it's always there for me to peruse should I feel like perusing it. But right now, I think it's not my number one look on this one. Also, let's look at microcloud hologram, because Mr. Meme saying holo was nice. I was looking at this one again today. This one will not stop. Sharif correctly was saying that this one was kind of the one that brought back those 3-digit or 4-digit small cap runners a couple weeks ago. And I mean, yeah, holo's like, you guys can't forget about me. I'm still here. Continuing to run to the upside. I liked this one earlier when we were ranging before 10 a.m. I was looking at this and I was like, Adara, just get back to the desk after and you could range. Yeah, no. Bye-bye range. Yeah. Microcloud hologram does what it likes to do and ran an insane amount. This is a really small float. We are talking under 2 million shares here. I think it's 1.85 million shares from what I was seeing. But this is a massive move here to the upside for microcloud hologram. What a great look. Also, there was something else here I wanted to look at. Yeah, Mahmoud, I agree the market feels a little bit slow today. There are certainly some names making lots of moves. A lot of the small cap gappers. Rumble is moving with the viciousness, as Sharif said, that is crazy. Also, yeah, I was going to say, before you explain your point of entry, I was going to say I like that it was support resistance. I figured that was what it was. But yeah, so hopefully the Rumble will continue moving to the upside. I see you were in another trade too as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to manage this one, so I'll just give it to you for a second, just so I can put in my stops.
Yeah, no worries. I'm still looking for opportunities. I might consider lowering my range here on this Amazon, but I'm not I'm going to wait and see here. I want to wait for a little bit more, like kind of see what we do at the bottom of the range, because I find I have a tendency, especially weirdly enough on Amazon, to enter these ranges on Amazon at inopportune moments. I don't know why it's specifically this stock, but I find Amazon does these little breakout ranges quite a lot of the time, and then it won't always come to fruition. I'm not trying to be biased, mind you. I'm just being cognizant of my little beef with Amazon. And just, I find, for whatever reason, I find the stock to be a bit of a trickier stock. I am not Obi, I am not the Amazonian or the Amazon Whisperer. So I do find I struggle a little bit with this name, and I want to be honest about how I'm doing with it. Thank you, Sunstar. My shirt is not Prada, though. It is Gap on sale. But I appreciate that. And yeah, Prada's a very cool brand, but also cool Sharif and his trades.
No.
Weird transition.
I know, it's all good. Derek, can you believe this swing thing is still on its way up? Now we're 140%, guys. We're halted at almost $70, $69.79. But look at this hammer candle. This is the thing of nightmares here. So this thing dipped down into 58 bucks before it launched back up into 70 bucks. I mean, this thing is just terrifying. Yeah, so this is the 1 minute look on it. You can see that there's really, how do you get into this other than putting a dip trade either on the 10 or the 20 EMA? I mean, it's held the 10, it's held the 20 at times. It hasn't been breaking that level on a closing basis on any time frame, I think. So, wow. Lots of FOMO looking at this one, but we'll continue to watch, see if we can I probably won't trade this, like, quite frankly. I mean, it's so hard to manage risk. Anyway, halted at 70 bucks, guys. This thing is on the way up. Let's see what the top is right now on it. 69.80, so 1 penny above where we halted out at, so no big deal. All right, back to rum. We're still holding that 875, and we're back up into 885, but not with the vigor and not with the speed that, you know, a small cap gapper may provide here. Looking for a 9, essentially looking to get out in front of 9 and then looking to add a little bit on, or looking to hold a piece for the dream. All right, Brendo telling me Alex Karp is on CNBC, so that's gonna prompt me to load up PLTR, which trades on New York. Let's see what this one's gonna do. If anything, yeah, he is on CNBC at the moment. Look, we're zigzagging a little bit. We haven't done anything. Let's see which way this one resolves. We have essentially a 25 top, and even though we're putting in some higher lows, it's really a 25 top and a 24 2/3 bottom. We don't have too much price action on PLTR. We're up 0.2% at the moment, but there's really no direction here other than taking the 25 short. It's gotten up to 25.2 at times, $25.02, but it really hasn't cleared 25 with any vigor here. Now, if you're looking for a discernible trend, we are putting in consecutively higher lows with a flat top. So, you know, we could get something akin to a flat top breakout. I just don't see it on the volume today on Palantir, but that could change with the hair. Let's call him the hair.
Yeah.
In case you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just show you. Alex, is it K or P? Or
I think it's K. Yeah.
It is. This man has the world's greatest quaff, baby.
He really does.
Go Alex Karp. And as I look at him on CNBC, it looks a little bit more, you know, he's calmed a little bit more today.
Yeah.
You know, it's still wild and flowy. But shout out to the greatest hair in the tech world, baby. And that belongs to the man, Alex Karp. We'll see if we get any price action moves on Palantir. We'll keep eyes on it.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, too. I was reading about him, and he's, like, smart. He's had a cool journey.
Oh,
he's not
awesome.
very old to be as successful as he is. And his hair just is a little bit of literal icing on the cake because it's, you know, at the top of his head there.
Yes.
Weird analogy, but, yeah, go Alex Karp. Also, thank you so much to Papa Powell for the $1.99 super chat. Getting someone from Rumble in studio soon? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. Not as far as I am aware, but I mean, like, we can look at the chart. I know you're looking at the chart because you've got some rumbling to the upside there too. But yeah, no, this is right now, like it's a nice look here on the chart. I was trying to get that flat top break. Well, I wasn't trying to get it. I was at the big desk, but I was looking at that flat top break earlier and I totally missed it. Nice look there here for a nice range break on Rumble, though I will save the analysis for Rumble for someone who was involved in the trade who is right next to me when we go back back there. I'm still looking at Microsoft. I think Microsoft, there are some opportunities. Also, I love that I fat-fingered my way into a long, got out, and then it rips. So good times, that's okay. On to the next one. We're a little bit flat on this name because of that kerfuffle, but other than that, I'm still looking at how we're holding VWAP and making lower highs. I think there's some kind of range opportunity for me here. Also, I'm kicking myself for not getting involved in NVIDIA. I was trying to punch in here at 892s, just missed getting filled. It was going to be short, and then we continued to fly to the downside here. I would have been about $3 in the money, but woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yep.
Where's the next opportunity? I think NVIDIA is giving you something of a range from 889 to 892. However, it's NVIDIA, so I'm going to trust that about this much. I'm going to wait and see what I do here. If we hold 899, well, I will be taking that range up and down that 892, 889 area, but it hasn't done that yet, so I cannot make assumptions. I can only look at the price action that I am seeing. Also, possibly giving me some nice little scalpy opportunities is my old pal, IWM. We had sort of double top in this lower high. The moon is slightly, lower low and then a slightly lower high. So there's some kind of downtrend here. And I think given these wicks, I think if I'm scalping this in the 3-minute or the 1-minute, I can get a couple pennies of movement here. I'm paying less attention, though, to the chart action on this than I am on what levels we're holding on the book. But I find with IWM, and what I found was helpful yesterday, because I'm honestly really proud of what I did with that name yesterday. It was purely just intense scalps based on what I was seeing on the book, but my entries were kind of timed around support and resistance areas that I was seeing pop up on the chart, right? So we're going to talk about that with regards to today, because yesterday is a whole other day. There is something going on with VWAP and IWM. Even though it's an ETF, I think sometimes levels can still come into play. Massive rejection here earlier, then we pop up, we bounce, then we fall through, we come up again, we bounce. Now we're having this tug of war. I think there's some kind of short opportunity here on the table, and I'm looking for my point of entry on this little scalpy situation. I like that 206 hold and break, because I just noticed that break there on the book, but I'm going to be reading this book, sitting there on my couch and reading with a literal cup of tea and seeing what we can do here with this IWM. How goes your trades?
Well, we just tanked Adara off. We rejected 18.3. We didn't reject. Sorry, we broke down below 18.3. The future is on the way down. We broke that 100-point level at 18.3 aggressively. Prior to the break, 18.303 had been the low, owing to this candle here right at 10 a.m. It was a hammer candle, and we worked our way right up back into the volume-weighted average price at 86s. We've now given up the ghost at 3. We're looking here at resistance level 1, support level 1, on the pivots, which is hanging out at that 71-point area. So number one, we want to see if it's a quick dip and pop below 18.3, or whether we're going to get a closing print south of that 18.3. So I'm watching the future here, keeping an eye, see if we can bamboozle some trades off that 18.3 level. So eyes on that, and just keeping my eyes on Rumble as well. I also set up a dip trade, and I am long on Amazon. All right, great. So I did get that dip trade, and wow, right up to the top it goes. That's an Adara Panera trade that I just stole from you. That is a range trade if I've ever seen one right there. Pleased as punch. Eh? What are you talking about, Neil? Amazon, yeah, Neil. I literally was sitting at 176.61. I got filled, and it popped right back up. I got prints above 90. We just took 30 pennies just like that. We're holding the piece for the dream here. We'll see if we can break through that 177, but it's been a rinse and repeat off that 176 and 2/3 to that 177 flat top. It's not going to hold forever, guys. There's going to be a point here where it either breaks down or breaks above. So please, dang punch about this trade, but keeping my eye on Rumble here, and I have to de-risk a little bit here because I don't necessarily like all these lower highs that it's putting in with that flat at 875. So this could flat bottom break here if we don't start getting away and start making some higher lows away from 875. So I'm very cognizant of the fact that Rumble is putting in lower highs. And so we'll have to see how this bad boy resolves. I don't want to paper hand this trade. I'd ideally like to wet my beak next above 95. I'm talking about 895, but we're going to have to pack our patience because the volume's dropping off a little bit on RUM at the moment, and we're We'll have to keep watching. The other thing that we're watching, I'm watching very intently. Looks like we are starting to do the wick shimmy dance from the south side of 18.3. That's awfully bearish. And so if we reject this 18.3, we keep doing the wick shimmy dance, wicking up into 18.3, rejecting, closing below 18.3, doing it again and again, and keep repeating that cycle, then we may be very interested. And by we, I mean me. I'm sorry to always throw you under.
Well, I mean,
like we,
I could be,
me.
theoretically.
I don't know why I say we. I
It's
think
the royal we, yeah.
The big kahunas do it too. I'll be looking possibly short here if we keep rejecting that 18.3 from the downside. But right now, it looks like it's reclaiming it. So watching my Rumble trade, watching that last piece of Amazon here for a 77 break. Happy with these trades.
Yeah, no, congrats to you. Yeah, I do love the look of that range in Amazon. I know I didn't take it, and maybe that was like an issue as I should have been a little bit more assertive, but you know what? It just wasn't for me, but congrats to you. That's an awesome look.
I called it an Adara Panera trade.
That was very nice of you to say. Yeah, I am not that good of a trader, but I appreciate that.
All good.
And I think congrats on that really speedy little Amazon scalp. I'm also trying to do a little something here with IWM. I talked about trying to build a position around the 206. That is what we're currently constructing. We're crafting it. I got in a little bit before the 206 area because we didn't really get it. We got like that 205.90. Initially got 205.95. I added it 205.96. We're watching that 205.80 area. That will be where I'm getting off some of those shares because, I had a line there and I guess I deleted it. I'm going to redraw it. That's okay. If you can see here, that was where we had a little bit of a move down here earlier and then where we had a little bit of chop and turn. So that's quite, for me, I think quite a clear level to de-risk. Then we're going to be saving a little piece for the dream as we get to 205.60s. I'm not sure if we will, but in case we do, I will be there waiting. I am a little bit worried, though, about this pseudo doji we kind of have. It could be a curl back up here, but generally, though, lower highs here on the IWM. And if you even look at the larger scale, we had a pseudo double top, then a lower high, lower low. So I think, I don't have a reason to leave. To me, I'm going to be watching what we do at that 201.60 area because we had a lot of failed wicks of sellers overwhelming buyers here. So that's really going to be the area I'm watching. If we pop back into that 206.10, if we don't, I'm happy with this trade, and we're going to see if we can be tickled pink and be pleasantly surprised by some moves here into that 205.80. I think that's the look. I know Mahmoud was mentioning this one as well, could test lows. I think it is possible. Like I said, I'm going to be more looking at previous levels for my type of scalping. But I do see what you mean there, Mahmoud. I think there's certainly a little bit of a potential for some moves down in the IWM, and hopefully this short will capitalize on that. Also, as you said, an Adara Panera trade, I'm seeing something that I like in terms of ranges on Microsoft. And I think I see it more on the 1 minute because I have the 1 minute on my side chart. Look at this. Woof. 413.80s to 414.20s. We're kind of moving up a little bit here. Like, as you can see, the candles, we're seeing a little bit of the shorter bodies. So I think there could be a bit of a change of the tides here in this Microsoft. But if I scalp this on the 1 minute, I think that could be a potential. I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to be making any sudden moves until it shows itself to me a little bit more. I think Microsoft generally seems a skosh directionally confused. We're almost flat on the day. We are slightly down on the day. We did have a bit of a curl down here, and we're just testing VWAP. So I want to wait a little bit before I make a decision here. IWM sputtering to the downside, so I'm pleased as punch with that. NVIDIA also, I said I was watching 889 and 892s. We're coming back into that area that I like. And if we fail this 889, 890 area, I like the idea of support becoming resistance. Although, like I said, with NVIDIA, we're not doing anything until we take a look at that book and we check it 2, 3, 5 times. That will be the type of trade I want in NVIDIA, and it will not be anything where you punch and pray. That will not be the look here.
Like that.
Right now, just kind of focusing on my little IWM. Yeah, I honestly don't have much on the horizon, continuing to look for ranges. Tesla, though, also a little bit interesting to me. Let's not draw a line. Where's Tesla? There is Tesla. Yeah, Tesla is interesting to me here, too, because we did have, it's even clearer to me when I pull it up here. Look at this rejection of 173. We reject it, we come back down. We have a double bottom, and we come back and reject it once more. This could be interesting. I think there could be some micro ranges here, and by micro range, I mean when we also earlier had that 172.20 pop both times on the way back to the upside. Now we're pausing slightly lower, so I think if I might scalp out and draw some little micro ranges for myself to swim around in or drive around in, I guess, in TSLA. How are you doing?
Daryl, what did I do when this morning when I first walked into the office?
You were really excited about Arsenal.
But what would I do with Dara?
Did you say Arsenal?
Arsenal.
That's what you did, yeah.
Arsenal. What's going on, Chile Nightmare? My phone? Okay, move it. Is it interfering? Oh, okay, got it.
Throw it away.
You throw it away. Okay, Ram. It was $10 Starbucks. Yes, Arsenal won on penalties yesterday. Look, I want to shout out Porto, man. I need to give Porto credit. A hell of a team. I didn't think that they were going to be that good when we drew them in the round of 16 draw. I was like, oh, this is a fantastic draw for Arsenal. It was either that or Copenhagen. I wanted them or Copenhagen. City got Copenhagen. They blew Copenhagen away. We got Porto, and we got the harder of the two draws, in my opinion. But Arsenal definitely, stepping up yesterday, showing that they can hang in these bigger games. I'm pleased as dang punch. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Roland Joe. Shout out to all my Arsenal fans in the chat, baby. We did it. We're going to the quarterfinals. First time in 14 years. I think we draw either. Who do we draw again? It's going to be.
Bless you.
Bless you, Chilean. I forget who we could possibly draw. It's the winner of the teams today, I think, that are playing. So we'll find out exactly who we get within a few days, I think. Today's the last day of the round of 16. I'm pleased as dang punch. We're first in the league. We're in the quarterfinals in the Champions League. I'm not saying we're going to win either, but this is kind of like a stock making higher highs and higher lows. I'm long Arsenal, baby. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, back to the Amazonian. Here we go again with 177 on Amazon. So we're right back at that level. The highest we've gone to today on Amazon has been that 177.16, but the better range has been 177 high and essentially 176 and 2/3 as a low. Here we go. We're encountering resistance yet again at the whole dollar. And as I stare at the whole dollar, I'm seeing bupkis in terms of size, which is leading me to believe that whoever is instituting a short there is, obviously a hidden seller, an iceberg order that's getting in at the moment or is sitting there at multiple levels, because it doesn't just hold up at 70. It's coming into 70, 177.01, 177.02, that general area, and then it's flushing right back down. But I don't see any size here reflected on the book to justify that hold up. So clearly an iceberg there. Keep your eye out on that range. It's a rinse and repeat style trade for those who want it. Big Kyle Burdett, AMD. I am short from against VWAP, being greedy, looking for a flat bottom break. Let's have a look at AMD and see what Big Kyle is chatting about with respect to that trade. So we already have Intel up. Intel has broken through 44. It held up at 43.70. Now it's in the 80s. But let's have a look at our friend AMD. So Big Kyle taking that short right there. I don't know exactly where Kyle is short, but VWAP on my chart where it touched last is 195.16, 195.20 or thereabout. So shout out to you, Kyle. I see exactly what you're talking about, flat bottom break, because it seems to be holding up at that 193.5 or general area. Technically, though, the low of the day is at 192.70. So it's sort of I don't want to call it a range trade because, yeah, well, it is kind of a range trade for the moment. I mean, 196 essentially to the high side here, and 193 to the low side, give or take, 25 pennies, 50 pennies in different areas. But yeah, good look for you, Kyle. Hope you print on AMD. It's obviously down big on the day, 4% plus. So how low can we go? I guess we'll find out. All right, back to RUM. I'm sitting here at 95s waiting for that print. Here come 93s. I'll wet my beak at 95s if we can cross. RUM up 13%, second day play. Yesterday, news leaked that they wrote an open letter to the owners of TikTok. I don't know if it was written to ByteDance specifically, basically saying that they're absolutely interested in joining with a consortium of different buyers to buy TikTok or the U.S. Operations of TikTok if, there is a forced divestiture. I believe we did pass. Adara reported that on the morning show that the bill did pass. Now it has to go through the Senate. My reading has been that the Senate has certain concerns about the bill as it was presented in the House of Representatives. We always know the Senate always likes to have their say or the House likes to have their say. It really depends on where the legislation originated. It always seems to be edited in some form or another. So we're going to see exactly what we get on the day. I don't know if the Senate votes on it today or how it's going to work. I'm looking periodically here at some of these news sites to see what's up. All right, we're at 95s here on Rumble, but we got to cross, baby. It's not enough to get the print on the ask. We got to get it on the bid, but the order is out at 95s looking to print there. So if we can print soon, that'd be crazy. All right, Manuel Palma, Palantir going. Wow, is Palantir going? There goes the flat top break, Neil, at 25.02. This one's on its way to 25.20. Good shout out there. Looks like Alex Karp is done on CNBC. So it looks like, you know, all the data that investors could have extracted from that interview has been digested, and the price action is reflecting that. Let's see if this one comes back to defend 25. It's leaving it by some margin right now, up 2% when it was down earlier there.
Yeah, there was another thing with Rumble too. So before that that bill happened, there was also some news that they've partnered with, their cloud aspect is partnered with some other company called QuinShift. So that came out this morning. Then we had the flat top break when we got that TikTok news as well.
Right.
So generally just a good catalyst day for Rumble. Also, I'm seeing here an update. There's an update from the TikTok spokesperson.
Ooh.
So they're calling the U.S. bill, even though it's not being called a ban, they're calling it a ban. They
Right.
refer to it as a ban. And they
Right.
said they hope the Senate will consider the facts, listen to their constituents before any action is taken. So just an update on that.
But we don't talk politics on the show, but we have to, and very briefly here with respect to this issue. Donald Trump came out yesterday, or I think yesterday or the day before, Monday, thank you. And he said that it would strengthen Meta if TikTok was banned. And we know Donald Trump basically told the Republicans not to vote for the border bill. So I don't know if the Senate holds up this bill or not. We're gonna have to watch. We're gonna have to watch. So lots of action, man. I mean, this all presents us with volatility. Volatility for Meta. Volatility for Rumble. Who knows what else? I mean, the Katina man was talking about this getting bought up by one of the Mag 7 names. I'm looking at Google. Remember Google Plus? Remember how they shut down Google Plus? So they don't have a social media platform anymore.
True.
They could be interested. So who knows who could be interested here? I mean, lots of possibilities. We'll have to see what we get here on the day. All right, RUM, I'm done this trade. We went up into 95s. I'm pleased as dang punch. Took that break through the 895 area. I don't have a piece for the dream, sadly, for the break at 9, but we'll look for a break and hold about 9, and then maybe we'll bring it back in. So, Quantran, what does that even mean, bro? I'm just talking about regular stuff. Stop being silly. Anyway, what are you looking at there?
Yeah, I'm still in this IWM. I scalped out some of it that I added because we kind of came back and rejected that 206. Now, though, it looks like we might actually be holding this 206 level. And I'm not even just talking on the chart because I know the ETFs are a little bit less responsive to the charts. Like I said, my strategy has been to look at the chart to see kind of what we're doing and then watching the book for my actual areas of entry and my plans here.
I agree with you, Neil.
My thing, though, is that this 206 area, I think, might be going from resistance to support, which is quite a bad news if I'm in this short. But we're still seeing lower highs. And the other thing, too, that concerns me and why I scalped out part of this position before adding back in was we have these wicks here that show we might actually have some buyers overwhelming sellers here coming into that 205.80 area, which is a previous area of support or at least some chop and turn. So I think things could get dicey here. But as long as we stay below that 206.10, which we have, then I'm going to stay in this trade, but I'm not adding anything to it. We're going to continue scalping as we kind of fall back into that 205.80s. That would make me very happy indeed. Still have part of the position out, though, so we've taken a little bit of profit. The beaks are lightly damped. They're lightly rinsed.
Good.
So, yeah, that's what you want. You want some beak winners. So that's the look on that. Not too much to report. We're basically flat on this name for right now, save for the profit that we did take a little bit earlier. Also, yeah, I was talking about my micro ranges on Tesla, and Tesla kind of still continuing to dance around one of those micro ranges right now. Also, earlier, someone was asking about RVLV, if there's any news. I'm not seeing any news on that name for the person who asked. I just forgot to say that, so I'm not seeing any news on that. But see, I was talking about these kind of micro ranges here on Tesla. Look. We did have that, I don't know who I'm saying look to. I'm saying it to myself, I guess. Look at Dara, that 172.20 area. We had that bounce. We come into that 173 area, which we have now rejected twice. Then we come back down, get this double bottom. I'm going to draw this as well to kind of complete my picture. There we go. Then we bounce back up, a little bit of chop and turn at 172.20. Then we fly to the upside. Then we reject once more at 173. Now we're kind of seeing that 172.20 is the top of a very teeny tiny range. So I'm going to be using these levels to make some scalps once I've extricated myself from the IWM position. I don't even have my IWM up on my... I don't even have the book up here, but now we're gonna sell, this is short. So we're gonna buy some of that, almost fat fingered that trade. That's okay, we didn't. Getting out some of this position here as we got into that 205.80s and then waiting to see what's going to unfold here for IWM and hope we don't get IW massacred in that trade. No, I'm joking, it's actually, like I said, I have nothing bad to say about that trade. We're still within our levels. This NVIDIA too, like I said, that when I was looking at 892, which I guess didn't hold as a level, so happy I didn't play around there, but now we're kind of coming back into the 892. Like I said, I'm always interested to see what we do in the around that 9 EMA because I find we can have a bit of an interesting relationship with it. We rejected the 9 EMA earlier. Now it could actually be holding a support. This is not a name I'm going to be taking, and if I do take it, I'm going to be taking it with a scintilla of shares because, like I said, my new strategy is focusing all my shares and all my energy in my range trades. Then if I see other opportunities I like whatever might be happening with NVIDIA, that's where I'm going to take small share size and kind of feel it out. So that's the look right now, mainly focusing my energy and extricating myself out of the IW monster or IWM. How are you doing here?
I love it. Watching SWIN halted this time to the downside. It's the second down halt in I don't know how many up halts here. It's still above the volume weighted average price, right? So I want to see what it does when it comes into that 41.20 because we could, I don't want to say I'm going to punch into this because I probably won't. But anyway, VWAP's at 41.30. This is halted just below 50. It's a 10-minute halt, it looks like this time around, maybe a little bit longer. Usually that halts, in case you're just new at this, halts come in waves of 5 minutes, by the way, unless it's a halt pending news, in which case it could be however long. It could be days, it could be weeks. Typically, it's not that long. But when there is a volatility halt, usually they come in pockets of 5, so it'll be 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, etc. Right? So keep your eye on SWIN if you're interested in trading it. But here is the look on RUM. So we got out full 895, but this puts in a higher low. So now what I'm looking for is whether we can break and hold above 9 and then to use 9 as a level of support. It's the exact same trade that I'd like to do on Palantir. Well, we're probably not going to get that because Palantir is leaving $25 behind like it doesn't even matter, right? Look at it breaking through 25. Then I was looking for possibly a 25 back and defend. I don't know if we're going to get that. It's kind of hanging out at that $0.25 area, a third of a dollar area or thereabouts. It's not making a move back quite yet, but Palantir up 2 1/3 now, looking to go 2 1/2. I mean, punching in at highs is just not my jam. I need to get a dip trade off a key level. Otherwise, I just won't jump into this one. Jay Lee saying Apple long at these levels. Let's have a look. What was Jay's exact comment? It says, Sharif Adair, Apple long now. It's been holding 171-ish. Let's have a look. So Apple is like doing that hockey stick kind of shape where it just comes back down and then we trend sideways. This is typically a recipe for a flat bottom break, but you know, you don't always get that on these Mag 7 names, especially something as thickly traded as Apple. So it's been doing I would say the mean range here is that $171, but it's gone lower, Jay. It's gone down into 170 80s, 170 high 80s, low 90s. In the same way that it's been going above 171 into the mid-teens, high single-digit area. So to me, this is a super tight range trade. This isn't for me. I'm not going long. I'm not going short until we get some sort of direction on this name. It's not the type of range trade that I'd want. The type of range trade that I liked on the day, or we took a trade on, was this Amazon 177 to 176 2/3. So it's putting in aggressively higher lows now. So I don't know. I think we may get a flat top breakout here through 177. Every single trough has been a little bit higher than the one prior to it, especially since around 1145 or so. It's been putting in aggressively higher lows, looking to take 177 and definitely hanging out a lot for a lot longer near that 177 area than it is really at that 176 2/3. But we'll talk about that and a lot more once we get back from Neil's lesson of the day.
To add or not to add? That is the question. Today's lesson of the day is when should you add to trades, how can you add to trades, and when should you maybe not? Everyone is always interested in making more on a trade, so you have an idea, you have a trade plan, you have an amount that you're willing to risk, you have an amount that you want to get in, and then all of a sudden, something changes, and you either want to buy more because it's gone in the money, maybe you want to buy more because it's gone out of the money, maybe you want to add to the position because something new has happened. So you've got to first understand which of those questions you're trying to answer, and then you can think about whether or not you should be adding to a position. Now, I shouldn't have to say this to anybody. Once you increase your position size, you are now risking more, right? So the only way in which you are not risking more if you add in position size is if your out becomes tighter. A visual example of that, because I think it's an easy thing to visualize, I'll just point out on a trade here on Amazon right now, because it happens to be sort of trending into the upside. If we can come to the chart, Ram. And chart. But if we're looking at something like this, if I'm going long in front of VWAP, and let's say VWAP is your stop, and this is like 176, like 30 or so, and if you're risking about 20 cents on a 50 long, essentially, you know that is going to be your risk point plus a little bit of slippage. Now, if for some reason I like that and I want to add to it without taking anything out back at the same price, if you double the position, you're doubling the out at 30. Now, if you were to move your stop halfway, then you're risking the same amount. So you have to understand, in that situation, the only way that you're risking less is to change your risk plan in terms of where you think you are wrong, which to me is the foundation of a trade. Where am I wrong? If you're arbitrarily moving that point simply because you have a different amount of shares, you're now doing something which is a cardinal sin. And you're thinking that the market cares anything about your position. The market doesn't care how many shares you have or what your new price might be. If it was going to hold a support level and that's what you're long in front of, that should remain your out unless you got new information. So if you are changing your out based on the amount of shares that you have and not an actual trade plan, all that means is you didn't have a plan in the first place, or you at least don't have a plan now. That is dangerous. The market's going to reward you sometimes for doing the wrong thing, and if you let it do that, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt. So there's a couple of things to think about when you're adding to a position. What is the difference between averaging up and averaging down? You're going to hear those two things all the time in trading. So if someone is averaging down, that means you're entering into a position. Let's say, again, I want long in Amazon. It's trending to the upside, and it makes a top. I want to buy the dip. I go into a long position. It then goes down into VWAP. Now, I cover the trade and get back in. So I don't average down in this particular case. I take my hit, and does it set up again, I go back in. But if you were averaging in and that's your cup of tea, then you don't get any, you don't get out, and you get more as it goes against you. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is it part of your plan or not? If it's part of your plan, and let's imagine that same scenario that your out is down around here at 176.30, and your plan was to have a price of 176.50, but you didn't know exactly where it was going to turn, so maybe you're going to take a quarter at 70, and then another quarter down in front of 50, and then you were going to take another quarter underneath, such that if you got all in, you would still be risking the same 20 cents to that stop. That's fair. Because you were uncertain about the price movement, you wanted to make sure you got a piece into it, but you weren't going to be all in unless it got tighter to that 30 level or bounced higher and you could buy a little bit later. If it's part of your risk plan, fine. You determine what your out was, you determine the amount of shares you wanted, fair enough. However, if you simply averaged in because it happened to go against you and for no other reason, that's where you're going to get yourself into trouble. Because if you approach the stock with a plan of action that this is my exit, and this is how much I want to risk, and then you decide you want to risk more as it's going against you, dangerous way to approach things. Why? Because the trades that work out right away for you are the ones that you're not going to be all in on, and the ones that go against you right away are the ones that you will be all in on. So that's a dangerous precedent to set for yourself in trading. That's what happens with averaging down. So you can have a plan for it. Just make sure you're honest with yourself about what that plan might be. Now, averaging up's a different story. Averaging up can be a great way to play a momentum breakout. And I'm going to use an example of something that went, I mean, not everything's like a parabolic move, but I'm going to use an example. I actually got a stop here in Google, but I wanted to show you guys something explosive where you might want to consider adding to a position. Now, if you average up, it's the same thing applying when it comes to risk to reward. If you are changing the amount of risk you have if you keep the same stop. So if you're long on a 139 breakout, which is probably the best break you could have on Google, it goes all the way up to 140. You're in that trade, you're holding for the dream, let's just say. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna hold 25% or whatever amount you decide to hold on to, expecting, unless it gets back underneath that breakout price, I think it can go to the moon. It's relatively strong. You can have all those reasons in the world. Now, when it bounces and reclaims VWAP, you might be thinking, hey, that's a good long. So there's two ways to approach this. One, be an algo and be able to treat the new shares different from the old shares. Meaning if I have 100 shares down here and I want to put another 100 shares there, I have my trailing stop for these, and when I end up with 200 shares, I have a different stop for that entry as if it was a separate trade. That's a pretty difficult approach mentally for a lot of traders because you're not a robot, but if you can do that, then it's all the same thing. You could have a tighter stop on that second entry, you could hold the original, no problem. Your average price is gonna say something in here, and if you're married to that, you could find yourself in trouble. So approaching it as two separate trades is one way to go. Another way to approach that, which is very popular among momentum traders, is once it holds this bottom, you think that's another leg up, and you were going to trail the position anyways. Okay, it's breaking here. As long as it now holds that higher low, I'm going to hold on to this position. So if your original entry at 39 was going to be moved my stop to about 139.5 instead of break even, then that can be an opportune time to risk the same thing you did at that point. Whatever you've taken out here, you can add back in with a tighter stop, risk the same thing you did originally, and then get your continuation trade to the upside. The thing that works with that is you are working toward and adding and putting more risk towards something which is trending in the direction you were anticipating. Meaning you're trying to get more in a stock where you're not fighting the trend. Now, this, yes, can be fantastic, but make sure you have a plan of action. As I said, are you moving your stop? Are you treating it as two different trades? You might see a new entry point, but do you also see an exit point if it doesn't work out for you? Remember, when you add to a position, you are taking in more risk, so that requires you to have a new plan. Now, the last thing that I will talk about here is what happens if you get new information. You know, that's always going to be important. There might be a situation where all of a sudden you hear news and it's going to move the stock. It's not always going to be the case, but every now and then you're going to see that happen. Now, in this particular case, I don't have an example from today where you had a position where I'm in and the news hits in the middle of the day and you think something different. But let's imagine a scenario here where you're already long in Alphabet, let's just say, and all of a sudden it bounces off of VWAP, but it's not a regular bounce. At this time, maybe news hits regarding like a TikTok divestiture. I mean, they had the vote today, so who knows? Like maybe there's news on TikTok. Maybe there's some great breakthrough in Gemini, and you're already in a long position, and you consider adding to it. In that particular case, whether you're averaging up or averaging down, you gotta do that whole algo thing. It's a separate trade at that point, because the old trade, you just happen to be in it. Like you just happen to be either in the money or out of the money when new news comes in. So if you're gonna put new risk on, it should be its own trade 100%, because everything before the news event was different. So you've gotta be able to take that anchor away from what was happening before, and if it's a new news event, wrap your head around a new trade. If you can't do it, you don't have to add. If you're sitting in the money and news comes out in your favor, bank error in your favor, there's nothing wrong with that. But before you add to that position, make sure you actually see a new trade and don't just jump on the euphoria because you already happen to have a positive P&L. That is, again, very, very dangerous. The market does not care what your P&L is. Never, and it never will. That's just what it is. And if you are averaging in, let's just say, when something is going against you, let's imagine that you were shorting the stock on Alphabet. If you were shorting into 140.35 here, I'll use an example that wouldn't have worked. It was a gorgeous trade. You're short, it works. You're short, it works. Look out against the trend, higher low. Now, as it breaks that top, if you average into it up here, it goes back to VWAP, and oh yeah, baby, you probably make money going back into VWAP. But if it continues to press higher, remember, you're max in for your max pain in that situation. Think of it like roulette. Everybody understands the concept that you can go into a casino at a roulette table and bet on black because that's what you should do. And if you lose, double the bet. If you lose, double the bet. If you lose, double the bet. And eventually, if it hits, you win the original amount of the bet, right? It's like a 50-50 shot. If you do that in trading, A, it's not a roulette table. It doesn't work that way. But in trading, you're going against the trend. This isn't an actual 50-50 bet or close to 50-50 bet. So if you're going to average into it like that, understand that yes, you're only going to need one turn and you're going to be good to go, but you will take max pain if you're doing it blindly when it goes against you. Everything is about risk to reward. Everything is about the ratio of winners to losers and the scope of your winners to your losers. So if you're going to add to positions, have a plan. Is it a new trade? Is it an extension of a trade I already have? Am I changing my out? Am I tightening my stop? Is there new information that makes it a new trade? Answer those questions and you can successfully add to your trades. That's your lesson of the day.
They should call that Hot Fire with Neil. Thank you very much, Neil. Eloquent and informative as always. Neil dropping hot lines every day at the midday hour. So make sure if you're not with us right at the get-go that you get here by noon. Adara, I'm long again. RUM at 04s. Ram, if I can show the chart. We're hanging out here at 17s. We just topped out at 15s there for the next peak weather. We'll have to hold 9. My stop was right below 9, so we had to actually hold that level. I put it at 98s, 898. I think we dipped 1 penny below 9. So now I'm looking for the next peak weather here at 17s. We're having some trouble around that 15 area. Somebody keeps getting short in and around 15. I heard a lot of people yelling in the chat about rum breaking 9. I got right back into it, but we're going to need to wet our beak through that 17 area. Right now, we're having trouble with 15s, as somebody is either taking profits or getting short at that level over and over, because now we have several rejections off it. Back to 15s again we go. Not enough size on the book here to justify holding up at these levels, so there's definitely an iceberg here. Here comes 16s. Can we see 17s? And there is 17s there. Bang, 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 bang. We get another trade on RUM there through the break of 9. This one is on the way up. Where to, I do not know. But look, the market likes what they see so far. 2 days now, this bad boy's been running 16 1/3% to the high side. Looks like we're going to get a $0.25 anytime now. Very pleased. What are you looking at?
Yeah, congrats to you. That one rumbling to the upside. I'm in this IWM, and honestly, I had Neil's words in my mind while he was speaking, because I actually did add to this position. The issue with this wasn't that I added, because I did, like I said, I was trying to build around 206. And I did already take some profit in this. The issue was, so I got out part of this at 206.10s. That was planned. I was going to get the whole rest out of it. That I just ended up de-risking because we didn't really go above the 206.10s. I was like, Adara, wait. Then I couldn't get filled because we broke above that 206.10 with such a viciousness, such a swiftness that it ended up wishing me to the upside. So we are down right now on the day, not by too much. But you know what? When you fall, you can always get back up. Brush that dirt off your shoulders. Pay that trade, no mind. Happy I did take some profit on this, and ready to see what the next trade has to bring me. And the next trade does seem like it could be. I'm in 2 Meg 7 names right now. One of them, Sharif took what he called an Adara Panera trade, which that was very kind of you, much appreciated. This range on Amazon is still looking spicy. I was watching this 85 bounce. I missed it by that much. Shout out to Get Smart. But hopefully we're going to get smart and get into this trade. I'd love if we kind of come back down here. I have a resting bid at 87s. I'm going to be taking some about it at 99. So we're going to be kind of scalping it out like a little ninja coming into that 177. Also Tesla making lower highs, lower lows, looking to get a short off that 170, 188s area where we had that earlier top and turn. But now we have a lesson.
People are loving Rumble in the chat. Rum and Coke, everybody's yelling. That happens to be what used to be one of my favorite drinks, especially Coke Zero. But yeah, well, kind of got off that now. All right, let's restart the lesson, baby. We're talking about risk management in volatile markets today. And, you know, we don't have a crazy amount of volatility on the day, but that's fine. I think there's a decent amount of volatility in singular names, and that's kind of what we'll be looking at today and how to manage risk. So, you know, essentially volatility is like the whitewater rapids, right? So it can be exhilarating, but they can also come with the greater risk of getting swept away and thrown off that boat and hitting a rock, seen or unseen. So here are some crucial risk management techniques to navigate these more volatile periods. First and foremost, position sizing. I went through both sides of the argument first time around the lesson. I said, you know, for newer traders, we're gonna suggest that you position size down during volatile markets, but experienced traders who have more of a feel for the market may size up during that time because they may see as more potential for profits. It's really going to come down to your experience, but we're talking, we kind of feel like the majority of us are newer traders. Obviously, the big kahunas are not, but I am, and I believe most of the people in the chat are as well. So we're talking about, you know, decreasing the amount of capital that you're using per trade. So that's essentially what position sizing is. In volatile markets, you want to downsize your position so that you don't get big boy losses if the market moves against you. And that's what we're looking for there. We want to have capital left in the account so that we can trade tomorrow and the day after. If we're doing YOLOs, you might get lucky. You might print, but chances are, you know, you lose your capital. One other way to prevent big capital losses is stop loss orders. So these are automatic orders that sell your holding if the price reaches a certain level. During periods of volatility, of increased volatility, newer traders should consider tightening up their stop loss orders during these volatile periods in order to limit losses on crazy and sudden price swings. So make sure you're well aware of how to use a stop loss order, the different types of stop loss orders, the stop limit, the stop market. Different ones work different times. You can't use stop market orders in the pre-market or the aftermarket. You're going to have to use limit orders during that time. Just apprise yourself about exactly what stop loss orders are. And if you want, go back to the first week on how to trade. We covered those ad nauseum, okay? And again, for newer traders, we're going to suggest that during volatile markets, you take profits a smidge early. Don't get too greedy, right? Volatility can be fleeting, and it often is, right? So you should really consider taking profits sooner than usual to lock in those gains before the market reverses. This strategy is obviously called early profit taking, and it definitely helps you protect your capital, right? Especially with these small cap gappers. Now, usually you don't have crazy bamboozlement on the Mag 7 names. Usually when they choose a trend, they go. However, you're going to have bigger price swings. Like something like NVIDIA is trading $2, $3 at a time, right? So you could, depending on your position size, be out a lot of money just by a regular price swing within that name, okay? You should also really look at increasing your risk to reward ratio. So this ratio compares your potential profit versus your potential losses. So if you're just joining us for the first time, you're not sure what risk to reward ratio is. Let's say I get in long 170 on Apple, and I see a key resistance level hanging out at 172. So I'm of the opinion that if we were to move up, we are going to move up into maximum 172. So that presents me with a profit of $2 possibly per share. So if I want to have a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, or 2 to 1, so then I would have to put a stop of $1. So that maximum it would go against me is the break of 169. And that would be to try and make $2. So during times of increased volatility, you may want to increase your risk to reward ratio. So if you were doing 1-to-1 before or 1-to-2 before, you may be looking for 1-to-3. Essentially what that means is that you should be looking for A+ setups. The setups that you know may come once or twice a day, right? And if you're a newer trader, during times of crazy volatility, you may only want to trade that amount of times. It's not advice. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. And again, we're talking to the novice trader here, not the more experienced or intermediate. Diversification, also very important. This is more important for swing trading rather than actually day trading. So if you're day trading and the micro caps, the semis are strong, you can get into multiple semi names, right? But we're talking about if you get into a swing trade, what you're looking for here is you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your capital across different asset classes in order to reduce your overall risk. And this will help ensure that if there is a downturn in one sector, if you're swinging for 3 months, 3 weeks, whatever, it doesn't wipe out your entire portfolio, right? So you want to diversify a little bit, make sure you got a little bit, maybe a swing in some industrials, a little bit in EVs, some in semis. Keep that in mind, some food for thought. And hedging, right? You may want to consider hedging during these times of crazy volatility to further protect yourself. And this might involve buying put options, for example, to limit your downside risk, or using the futures contracts even to offset potential losses in your underlying holdings. It really depends on what you're getting into. If you're getting into a Mag 7 name, for example, and you want to hedge against a future downturn, you may want to take the opposite position in the futures. Typically, the Mag 7 and the futures kind of connected. Lately, the Mag 7 have been running on their own. You know, each Mag 7 has its own flavor nowadays, but that wasn't always the case. Go back and look a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years ago, a year ago. A lot of them were moving in tandem, and that's just how it was for a while. Not so much anymore. And make sure you're doing a thorough pre-trade prep, guys. Keep emotion out of your dang trades. Easy for me to say, and then I come on here and I start smashing the desk and sweating and stuff, but it's a lot easier said than done.
It's a lot, yeah.
Right? It's tough. Trading's easy, guys. Have your profit targets in mind before entering the trade and stick to them, especially during times of volatility. And distinguish between the noise, guys, or the chatter surrounding a stock and the signals. And look for tangible reasons to enter and exit the trade. The market noise can absolutely lead you towards a ticker, but it shouldn't have an influence on your trading plan. Make sure that your trading plan is based on sound fundamentals and stick to it. That's how, you know, you keep yourself out of trouble. All right, Adira, as I finished yapping there, it looks like I got near the top here on Rumble as it comes back down into $9. Questions to be asked now. Now that we've broken $9 by about 20 pennies, do we now hold 9 as a level of support? I'm going to be watching here. Again, you could be punching in here and then put, like what I did when we broke 9, I got long here at 04s, and I put my stop at 8.98. So I gave it like 2 pennies. I'm like, this has got to generally hold that 9 area. If it doesn't, I'm out. So you could do that again right here. We're only printing 03s right now on the ask. So you can get long 03s, risk 5 pennies into 98, 97, whatever, in and around that area for another dip and hold at a key level. Rumble up 14.25%. Looks like it's still headed up, guys. Let's see.
Yeah, what a look here. Also, that reminds me, there's actually a super chat from Guilty Gunner. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. WSB trader saying rum will squeeze like GME. Shrug emoji. I mean, like we can't make any assumptions, right? We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Let's see what rum's doing on the daily chart. Also, yeah, congrats again to Sharif for those rum trades. He was rumbling with rum, pleased as rum punch, as someone was saying in the chat earlier as well too. Yeah, this is this was a nice look. We had that bounce off that 660 area, the previous area of resistance. I mean, honestly, I see resistance turn to support. I like it. I think it's a nice look for rum on the daily chart. Thank you very much for your super chat there, Guilty Gunner. Also, all of the conversations vis-a-vis Sharif's eggs.
I know, Neil. Look what Neil wrote. Never put all your eggs into one basket. Be like Sharif and put all 27 in your breakfast. Damn it, I only eat 12. I'm just joking. And it's not even 12 full ones.
I discovered that. Yeah, it's only 2 yolks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There we go. I remember.
In the winter, I add a third, and then there's somewhere I cut 1, right? Like, I mean, it's just, I'm not gonna.
So it's either 1, 2, or 3 yolks.
I was talking to Ty back there, though, and he has a completely different view on cholesterol.
Oh.
And the effects cholesterol apparently have on you. He's like, no, all this LDL, HDL nonsense, it's all propped up by Big Pharma to take your money to buy these anti-cholesterol medications and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, my old man's a pharmacist, and he believes into this stuff, like, fully. So I don't know how I feel about that. But Adira, we're bouncing off 9 again on Rumble. Dang it, I should have put that order. Here we go again, 913. Looks like we're on our way up on Rumble. So we hold 9. It's a beautiful hold of that general area and the bounce right back up 15.5%. Rumble still giving up, still going here, guys, not giving up the level at all.
Nice. Yeah, I did not have the Sharif specific experience of entering Amazon and then it pops up like a whole bunch of cents. That was not mine. We entered and we kind of hang out. I'm happy with this trade. I actually, I put this bid in and I kind of like forgot about it. I turn around, I see a triangle on my side chart and I go, all thumbs up. We're trying to get out here just shy of 177s with part of the position. We're going to scalp this in and out. If we break below that 176, 73 area, so giving these about 12 pennies, we shall say goodbye. I've been, Sean.
That's like $100 there, bro. How many? $1 in the money Tesla. $1 in the money Intel. $1.50 in the money Intel. Just 5 though on Coinbase, not that much. It's not that good of a trade, Katina man. He's been holding them for hours. Sorry to interrupt you, Adair.
No, it's okay. I was just saying I have a knack for every time I enter Amazon in one of these ranges that's been holding up all day, Amazon decides to break, to return the package to sender the second I get involved, and today is no exception. I get in, and I was watching that 176.73. We fell below that. I was like, we're out. It looks like it actually could be bouncing now, but risk management is important. We literally just talked about it, and I think it would be very hypocritical of me to have just, we just have that lesson, and then I stay in this trade. If it holds up again, mind you, I might get back involved, and maybe my stop is just a little bit too tight on this. That could be valid, but for now, I'm not going to complain about this trade. One trade I would like to maybe talk about and smile about for a bit here is going to be the Cybertruck. All these micro ranges, feeling like I'm like drawing on a chartboard here. You know that meme of Charlie Day with all of the conspiracy theories on the whiteboard? That was me with this Tesla chart. But I'm really proud of what I did here. I got involved here, like I said, at that 172.88. Then I was ready. I had this planned DCA at 172s. I was watching. We could not get over that 172.20, so I stayed in. And boy, am I happy I did. We're going to be watching. I don't have much of a position left. We have 1 week butter left. Depending on what we do with that 171.25s, we'll be getting everything out here because that was one of my areas where we had a little bit of chop and turn earlier. If not, the double bottom at 107.80, sorry, 170.80 looks mighty fine to me. So that's my look here on Tesla. And I know the chart is a little bit drawn on. It looks kind of like, an old book with the dog-eared pages. But this is just how I had to plan these ranges. And I have to say, there was a really interesting thing we had when we got to that 172.20. We tried it a couple times. We did not budge, and but I was like, Adara, stay in the trade. Thank you.
You're almost $1 in that, eh? Good for you.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah,
close.
I forgot where I added in there.
Yes. Yeah, the Katina man's in the same trade as you.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
171.98. 172? 172 and a quarter? A third? A half? 3? Bro, the Katina man is short 3s, baby.
Oh, no. Okay, you must
173.
That's a really nice look, yeah, because what a look on that. Yeah, I think this is, honestly, Tesla looks like it might be bouncing off my earlier area, so that might be where we cut it short. But I have to say, I'm just proud I got involved, and I'm really happy I didn't get scared out when we watched this dip into that 172.20. But I was like, Adara, you drew the level. If this level holds, and especially because we had this level a couple times, we had the bottom of that micro range here, then the top of that micro range there. So this is, in addition to scalpulation, I'm adding micro ranging to my, and I know someone yesterday was like, oh, how has the micro range trading been going for you? And I was like, I didn't even really think about it like that, but now I am specifically calling it micro range strategy, and we're gonna have to see how it goes, and I think we're gonna get out of the Cybertruck here.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Great trade. Shout out to Adara. I got eyes on Amazon yet again. Guys, look at this range over here. Wow. 177 high side, 176 and 2/3 low side. We rejected 177 yet again, not quite making it down into that 2/3. Did I say a third? I meant 2/3, excuse me. Not quite down to that 2/3 level. Looks like we hung out here at 70s with the lowest print being 67, so quite close. For that trade. Let's wait for this one to kind of bottom out here and make a new candle to make a new high, and then we may punch back into AMZN here as we continue to range over and over and over. I haven't seen Amazon range like this before, but then again, I mean, I really didn't have eyes for a range trade either until now. So we'll keep eyes on that one. Now, With respect to the future, let's talk a little bit about this because we had that great 18.3 or thereabouts dip. We had this kind of bottoming tail candle over here, and then we popped right back above 18.3. But look at where we're finding resistance. Surprise, surprise, that 50-point level yet again on the NQ. So it's either the 100-point or the 50-point or the volume weighted average price. Excuse me. So let's watch what this one does if it makes its way down 25 points and comes back into 18.3 yet again. But what I got to tell you is if it does, we may see another lower low here. So it may be lower than that 18.281 that we put in last time. Why? Well, because look at the pattern on the future. Crest, crest, and crest, all lower highs, but not just lower highs, but you have lower lows as well. So initially, we bottomed out at 18.302, and then the bottom was 18.281. So the trend continuing to show you that it may want to head to the downside here. We should be considering trading the Qs in that regard. So what I'll do is I'm going to send it to Adara Panera for now. I'm just going to set up my my trade on the Qs here.
Yeah, Sunstar, great name here, saying thoughts on Square right now? Or SQ, yeah, I mean, I can totally give you my thoughts. This one did have a nice little day. Two companies or two, I guess, things that it's worked on. So those are BitKey and Afterpay, both having some catalysts. So giving Square a little ump to the upside. Ooh, I do have thoughts on Square right now. I got excited. Thank you, Sunstar. Okay, and I'll explain why I got excited there because look at that. We had that pop. With that topping tail candle
$6
into 85.60 earlier, then we come right back down the 81.50, then we continue to go curl to the upside. Look where we end up falling. That happens to be exactly VWAP around that area yet again, the 85.80, 85.60 area. Now we have a little baby range that seems to top out more or less. There's a couple different tops of this range. So one of them, I'm seeing a pseudo top around that 86.20. Then 86 seems to be the other top. So this would be scalping. We're talking 20 pennies here, but the spread on this is about 4 cents. So not bad. I mean, I've gone toe to toe with Eli Lilly, so I can't really be sitting here complaining about spreads. So I think this could be interesting. I have eyes on this. Generally, my thoughts is as long as we hold this VWAP area, which we seem to be holding well, I don't think it's a bad look. I think the thing is, though, we have been higher. We certainly have made lower highs, lower lows. I don't need to tell you that. I think, honestly, I would say look for that VWAP hold. If we fail VWAP and then also fail this 85.20 area where we had some chop and turn, then that might be a bit more of a move to the downside. But yeah, my look right now is this seems to be a beautiful range play. I hope that helps Sunstar, and thank you very much for bringing this beautiful chart to my attention, because I like this look. Also, I got out of Tesla because we hit, I was watching to see what we did at that one area. We did end up bouncing. Happy I got out where I did because we're actually popping up a little bit here too. I should be watching as well. If we see a little bit of a turn here, I'll play this 171.30 to 171.60. I have no issue with that. I will take ranges in whatever size or quantity they end up showing themselves to me. So let's hopefully we can get something brewing here in Tesla, hop back in that Roadster, and hopefully go 0 to 100. Also, IWM is back at that lucky 206. It's not lucky, it's just a level I like on the start. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. I did end up losing out on this name, but we did take some profit, and I do still think, if I had been smarter about my exit here, I still think there's some possibilities for this 206. Maybe as a long now, 206 to 206.20. So let's watch out and see what happens.
All right, let's see what we do with this Q's trade here. My line to stand is going to be the top end of this range, 44.60 or thereabouts. The future putting in a bit of a curl here, and that's not what we're looking for. We were looking for another possible curl down, not curl up, into that 18.3 area. But right now, it's on its way back into 18.350. That is if it continues up. So I did add at that 40s. My line in the sand is going to be the break of 60, and we'll take an L there. So that will be an L. It looks like it's going to be an L awfully soon here, as we are now in the mid 50s, looking to go and break above 60. So that kind of sucks. We'll see if we get stopped out or not, or whether this curls right back down. I'm looking for a rejection of 18.350. And then a curl back down to retest 18.3. That was the move here. We may not get it, and that's fine. So we'll have to draw our line in the sand above 440.60. That is going to be the line in the sand. While I'm looking at that, I'm also, let's look at some small cap gappers because we stopped talking about those a little while ago. Oh, Rumble really broke down here. Okay, so let me just throw in my stop on this here. So let me just move this over, and then we're gonna go like this. Oops, I don't know what this thing is doing. Oh, that's why. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. Sorry. Can I send it to you for a sec?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
having a
of
little
course.
trouble here.
I'm just eyeing IWM. I have my eye. Yeah, that didn't work. We're IWM. I'm watching it. I was gonna try to pun it, but that's cool. So we got to that 206.10. I was gonna go short. Ended up saying no at the last minute. I should have said yes. And honestly, just shorting this to that 206 area because, like I said, this range has been spicy. I was involved in this name earlier, and I don't even just mean on the chart because I know charting these ETFs can be risky. I mean looking at the chart and also seeing what we're doing on the book. This 206.10 magnetism is fascinating to me. And we're gonna see if we can make some mountains out of some molehills and some profits out of some waffling here on this IWM. Let's actually look at the SPY. So some mentions of SPX earlier. I've traded the SPY a couple times. Ooh, range. Someone was saying, why do you have so many sound effects? I just get really excited by charts. That's what it is. I find patterns really cool. It's essentially what charts are, right? Again, I don't want to get too excited because it is an ETF, but look at this beautiful little range. I'm gonna get my little drawing tool out. Whew. We have a little bit of this there's certainly a 516.12 level that I like. I think, there's a little bit of a top here if you want to take out some profits if you're going long. Let's do 516.45. Then there's some earlier areas you can save pieces for the dream along the way. Then, of course, this little triple bottom area that we've had some support at 515.87. I need to keep a better eye on the SPY. I have to eye SPY because I think this is a really beautiful look. Scott 8 saying starting to sound like an owl. I guess I'm just, hooting and hollering over here. Good times. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, out of the future there as it did break above my level. But as I look, that level that I had on the Qs obviously didn't equate exactly with the 50-point level on the future. So I'll keep eyes on this one. But the future looks like it may want to take VWAP here on the NQ. So let's look a little bit at this because it's inching its way up. Now, there's two VWAPs, right? Your volume weighted average price from 9:30, essentially our 9:30 onwards, and that's where we've been dancing below. And then there is the volume weighted average price from 4 a.m. onwards, right? So it really depends on where you anchor your VWAP, and it's where it's going to show up on the future. I have both. So I have that one from 4 a.m. and I have that one from 9:30, and I can kind of have eyes on both because sometimes it rejects off the VWAP from 8:30 or from 9:30, 8:30 Central Time, and sometimes it plays more off the levels from 4 a.m. So you never really know what you're going to get on the day, so that's why I have both up on there. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, the volume weighted average price starts collecting, it starts compiling its data from where you anchor it. So if the data starts compiling from 4 a.m., because that's technically when you can start trading equities in the pre-market, then your volume weighted average price will take into consideration data from 4 a.m. till 9:30. If you anchor it from 9:30 from the bell afterwards, it'll be an entirely different set of data, and so it'll show up differently on the chart. So I just want to make that point there. So as you see over here on the NQ, this one is from 4 a.m. You see the volume weighted average price at 18,368. Sure. And then if we go to the other chart where VWAP starts at 8:30, look where VWAP is right here, 18,349. So you never really know what level it's going to respect on them then, and that's why I have both them on there. All right, let's leave that one for a sec and look over here at Rumble because Rumble had a big flush off 9. So I'm kind of happy, even though I want to get back in at that 9 area, that I didn't really get back in because I may have held this one against me. This one is on its way down. Where to though? So it did get a bit of a bounce right there off the volume weighted average price. VWAP on my chart's at 866, so 866. Let's see if this one holds up at that area. If it doesn't, there's a price action consolidation top that we can base a trade off. So this price action top here at 855, 856, doesn't look like it's holding. It looks like we're breaking down aggressively below that level right now. But look at this is where I would have based the trade, right? If it wasn't the volume weighted average price at 65 or 66, I would have definitely been looking at this consolidation top. Look how many candles you have that are that rejected off 855. I would have definitely assumed, you know, at least we hold up there. Maybe a buyer steps up, even if it's momentary, and then we get a move back down. No. So now we're breaking down below 850. Forget about 55 here. Let's see if we get any curl back up off this general level. I'm talking about the $0.50 level here on Rumble, as it's having a great day now, though. It was up 14%. Now it's up 7.5%. So it's giving up the ghost here on the move. So we'll see whether or not it can curl right back around. The future is now breaking above that 50-point level, so I'm happy I got out of that huge short and didn't keep DCing into that one, because now it's breaking above that 50-point level, and that was definitely my line in the sand for that short. All right, let's have a look here. Amazon is the wicks are killing me. I'm going to have to fix those wicks before I can show it again. What else? We have Palantir. When the Katina man came back from the walk, I'm like, bro, you might have to put on your Palantir hat, because it's on its way to 26. And it got up to about 25, 45 or thereabouts. But here we go on the way back down. Looks like we held up here at 25.10, and then we popped back up into 25.20. Now, we saw what this one did earlier with 25. It couldn't break through 25. There was definitely a seller hanging around that $25 area or thereabouts, because it would get up to 25.02 and stuff like that. So now if it comes back to 25, are we going long? So are we looking at that area of previous resistance flipping to support, especially with the haired one on CNBC? Yeah, the haired one, baby. What's up, Katina man? Tesla 171, says the Katina man, and this one might give up the ghost awfully quickly at that 171 level. And if it's going to give up the ghost, keep your eye on 170.60. That is technically the low of day on the day on Tesla, but it's been a rinse and repeat short off VWAP. Shout out to the Katina man, short at 173.75, baby. And now this one's on its way down to break 171. What else we got? Yeah, so with respect to Palantir, I'm going to go ahead and put Palantir on my side chart here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an alert for 25.05. If it gets into 25.05, I want to be alerted so that I could decide whether or not I want to get along at that $25 level. I'm not going to put a resting order because I just don't trust this name, right? This one can bamboozle you. We'll see. What are you looking at it there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still staring at this Tesla. I have to say, I'm happy with where I got out in this, but I am mad because I said I would look to get back in this if we reject that little line that I drew on my micro scalping at that 170, 160, and we did. I didn't have eyes on it though because I was doing the dance with the IWM, which I have to say I'm pretty happy with. I have no complaints about the IWM scalp. I was watching, like I said, I had that 206.20 area. I had eyes on. We got into it. I got out. Just a really quick 10 penny scalp, maybe like 9 penny scalp. But yeah, just trying to learn in the sim. Like I said, my focus today and lately as of yesterday, I was like reflecting, last night on the trades. And I think yesterday why I was able to have some good trades was because when I say good, I just mean like I felt good about them, right? I had a plan that made sense and it worked for me. They were all the trades that I was in much shorter term. So we're talking like one NVIDIA trade I was in less than a minute, right? They were scalpier. And B, it was just setups that I felt good in that I wasn't trying to overstay my welcome in. And we still ended up, like, I think, basically flat on the day yesterday because I had some other trades that didn't work out that I took with too much size. So now my new strategy is if it's anything that's not going to be a super planned scalp, we're taking it with tiny size. So that's kind of the new strategy, and then just really trying to tighten my stops. With that in mind, something that I think could be a little bit riskier, but something that I do want to always keep my eyes on is NVIDIA. Look at this kind of curl down here. We have these wicks up into 892, which is an area I liked earlier that I was saying I think we're seeing maybe a little bit here of these wicks of sellers overwhelming buyers. I think that 891 could be pretty juicy. The only thing that slightly concerns me here is we have that pseudo double bottom at 888, which would also definitely be the area I'd exit if I get involved in this. But I want to see what we do here. I want to wait for like another 892 rejection there. I was like 180 NVIDIA. I want to wait for another 892 of rejection. If we get it, I might get involved in this like 891.50s. I'd be okay with that. I just really want to make sure that I'm not getting involved at too quick of a speed. X, yeah, U.S. Steel. Let's see. Thank you very much, Sean, for that one. Let's see what's happening with X. Apparently, it's Joe Biden with a B, not Biden, set to voice concerns over Nippon Steel takeover of U.S. Steel. Thank you for Sean for sharing that one here. Benzinga also. Financial Times saying this. Whew. Yeah, sorry for that sound there. This is quite a look. We had that move up here, then we fell with the viciousness off of 46.4. Shout out to someone else as well mentioning this one. Someone else here was mentioning this one, basically in the chat saying they were hearing some whisperings about that of Benzinga. So I had it searched up here, but I didn't see the story until just now. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, this is a bad look here, down about 8% right now on X, or is X. X is what a move down here on X. Yeah, Joe Biden, or I accidentally said Joe Biden when I first said this. Joe Biden with a B set to voice his concerns over Nippon Steel's takeover of U.S. Steel. Financial Times. And yes, I did hoot again there, I guess. Sorry, Scott H. I saw this chart and I went, whoo. But what a move down here. Yeah, this is quite a
Why is he opining on this?
A lot of people
Isn't that, shouldn't that be for the FTC chair? Or the DOJ, Mayor Garland. So he delegates. Yeah, you bring up a good point, Neil. When your faculties are that strong, you say, "Oh, I'm not going to." All right, guys. Big move down for X, man. Here's the headline. Joe, yeah, you already read it, right?
Yeah,
I don't need to read it again. Okay, perfect. It's on the Financial Times website if you guys want to check it out, right there on ft.com. All right, let's see what's being said here. Well, yeah, gravity in its purest form on X. Yeah, it's really pulling it down. Let's pull up the chart here on X to see what levels of support and resistance we need to be aware of on the way down here. So obviously nothing on the day. Bit of a hammer candle here, though, forming, looking to bounce back up. We'll see if this one can bounce back up or not. What do we have here? Percentage 6.9% to the downside. Let's now flip to the daily and figure out where the next level of support could be. Well, a bit of a tough one to chart here because we had that giant move up back in mid to late December. On the 18th, look at that big move up from 38. We went up to 52. I'm assuming that's earnings, right? And then this is earnings as well. So two good earnings report for X. I'm assuming this is earnings because they're spaced apart as earnings would be typically spaced apart 3 months apart over here. So let's go ahead and say the key level of support. I mean, you have that $40 area. That's a $10 area, psychological support, but the price action really suggests something like 36 or 37, maybe even lower, guys. So we'll see what this one gets. I don't know if we get that kind of a move down, but X could be a mean reversion trade here, but you're not going to see me punching into that, especially with no support levels that I can see until about 40 or 36. So we'll see. X definitely on watch for the rest of the day. All right, let's flip back here. Okay, so something is breaking the range finally, and it goes by the name AMZN. Shout out to the Amazonian. This one had an obvious top at 177 all morning, save and except for these two candles over here that took us into 177.19. Now look at this big candle. This is the biggest on the day. We are now moving into resistance level 1 on pivots, and that takes us to a new high day, 177.28, so just about the $0.25 area. I can't say that this wasn't coming because we kept putting in higher lows. We kept hanging out, trending more near that 177 area than we were that 176 3/4 or 2/3, right? We kept getting more action around the high end of this area, and then we would only spend just brief moments below that area. Like, look at this. Most of the action is above that 176.82, so it looks as if, this was an inevitable break, and there goes 177 on a closing basis for the first time on the day. Let's see if it's able to get through that resistance level 1 on pivots, already up 1.05%. Good look for AMZN here. I don't want to say Amazon and Google are trading alike, but there's a lot of similarities between their charts today. You know, that big move up, a bit of a sideways consolidation, and then just recently we break through key levels of resistance. I would say on Google, that key level of resistance was, you know, for the most part, 140.75, 140 and 2/3 thereabouts. Now it's breaking through 141 like nobody's business, and it's on the way up to resistance level 2 on the pivots, which is hanging out at that 141.25. So good look for Google, good look for Amazon. They're both pumping right now, while all the other Mag 7 names are either sideways or doing bupkis. So Amazon, Google, strong names on the day, and that's no surprise. Google 1.85 in the green, and Amazon 1.1 now. So they're both green on the day, and their charts definitely reflect that. The Katina man just took some out of TSLA as it dipped into 171 again. In case you're wondering, he's short 173 and change. 173. 173. 172.75. Excuse me. I said 173.75 earlier. My mistake. 172.75. Shout out to the Katina man. And before I send it back to Adara, I want to mention the future here, because we talked about the volume weighted average price ram on the future, and we talked about how the volume weighted average price can be in two different areas depending on what time you start compiling your data. Well, this one's from 4 a.m. and we have the VWAP hanging out here at 18.3 and 2/3. So I definitely want to watch to see, number one, do we break VWAP? And if we do, look at these two candles over here that took us into pivot points at 18.380. Do we break above that? And if we do, then that'll be a newer high, and we have an entirely different chart pattern at that point. And we could easily see an 18.4 touch, if not a move higher. So decisions and things to be made, or questions to be asked, excuse me, on these markets at the moment.
Yeah, we like market questions over here on how to trade. Also, we're going to be repeating the lesson soon, but for now we do have Mr. Memes. Thank you so much for the super chat, $5 super chat. GCT, please. Thanks. I can't find GCT. Let me keep checking. There we go. I'm blind. There we go here. GCT. I don't know why I didn't check the NQ first. That's okay. I checked the Amex. I was like, where is it? I checked the NY, but nice little bottom here at 37.60, a bit of a double bottom, a little bit of chop and turn. Now we're seeing kind of higher highs, higher lows, trying to curl back up here. Areas of resistance are going to be the 38.60 area that we previously popped up on. That'd be nice if we popped back up there. I think, you know, of course, then that 39.3 area are going to be interesting. Volume here actually not bad, a little bit over 1 million shares. So it's actually doing more volume than Eli Lilly today. Is GCT. Let's get some more deets about this company. Giga Cloud Technology. Anything with Giga or Cloud in it, usually a nice sign for this very AI and tech-focused market. Not seeing any news on this one right now. Let's see the daily. It looks like it was holding to the downside a while ago, February 20th. Let's see, my chart decided it would hold to the downside. So let's pull my chart right back up here. GCT. Giga Cloud Technology. Let's see what we're doing over here. Also, yeah, someone was asking what happened to my Amazon trade. It fell the second I got in, so I got out. It really boring. But yeah, this GCT, ooh, this is not bad on the daily. I think this massive topping tail candle, though, around 40, what is this, almost 41? I think that would be kind of interesting to eclipse. Generally, though, I'm seeing higher highs, higher lows. Fell off a little bit here, but we definitely popped back up off that 31 yesterday. So kind of an overall story of perseverance and trying to climb that pedal bike to the upside is GCT. I think it's a nice look.
Dara, we have an auction, guys, in exactly 2 minutes. 1 minute now, excuse me. In 1 minute, we have the 30-year bond auction. Currently, I follow the 30-year very closely. Currently, the futures, 30 years, trading at 4.320. The last print was 4.360. Guys, as usual, if you get the bond result, I don't typically get it all that quickly on this app. It's investing.com. So please tag Adara and I in the chat there with the result of the bond auction. It's trading right now. The futures contract for the 30-year is trading at 4.320. It's up 1 1/5% on the day. That is the comparator. We're comparing the result of the auction to what it prints relative to what it was trading at before the auction. So we'll wait and see what we get from there. I'm sure it'll be out momentarily. Shout out to the chat, which always helps us out here with the bond auction. All right, I got into RUM. My line in the sand here is going to be the break of $8.45. I got in at 60 or 59 or something like that for a break, or sorry, for a hold of this level. So remember when I was talking about this previous price action support on Rumble over here, owing to this this flat top area that we had, that we couldn't break through at around 8.55. Well, it's holding up right at that area. Save and except for this one candle over here, which dipped to 45, then bounced right back up right above the $0.50. So right now, it looks like it may break the $0.50, and if it does, it breaks 45, that makes a new low, and that's my line in the sand. We'll get out of that. But what I'm looking for is for this previous area of support at 55 to flip, or sorry, resistance to flip into support. We'll see what we get there. Not too much size on this one though, because it's a rinse and repeat trade, so we don't want to get rinsed on this one. So taking smaller size on this trade on Rumble, but looking for a move back up.
Oh, we got it.
All right, bro. JC, you're talking about the actual bond, bro. All right, we're not talking about the bond. We're talking about the yield on the bond. So there's a bit of a difference to what the bond is trading at and what the yield is trading at. Thank you for that incorrect assessment, though. What else we got over here? SOUN for whoever was, I think Scott. Scott was pounding the table about SOUN. And, well, you're at high, Scott, right there, 779. Right, it's basically coming into yesterday, or the pre-market high, I would say. So this one hadn't broken. Well, it did, actually. It broke the pre-market high around 1150. But it's unable to stay above that pre-market high. So we'll see if it can break above that 780 level. It's having trouble, but it is near high of the day right now. So good look for SOUN. What are you looking at?
Yeah, sounding the alarm there on
Sound the alarm.
Okay, that nigga pound the alarm. Yeah. Also, apparently, Atana's DMOF saying that the bond auction came out at 4.352%. I'm not seeing anything else in there. Thank you for that. Yeah, let me look at this. This NVIDIA, I have to say, I'm really proud of myself, not because this trade went well, it went against me, but I'm proud because I got out. I had a plan, I left. Basically, like I said, I was taking this short because I was watching, we had the 892 failure a couple times. I was gonna get out around the 888 area. I had a really small position size. We didn't get there. I was watching for 893s. We got 893s. I got out. Honestly, even though it was a losing trade, I'm pleased as punch. Because as I was saying, and Sean mentioned this earlier today as well, I know Neil was saying that your losing trade should be boring. This is a boring trade, I'm very happy to say.
Good.
So let's see what else happens here. I was trying to go long NVIDIA at that 893 when we held that up. Didn't get filled. Moving to the upside, sounds like Compass RX and some other people involved in this trade. So I like this look. Hans Beer, I tried to get in long. I didn't get filled there. That was the goal. But it's okay. And I would have taken it to the 895 because that would have been that earlier area we had some chop and churn, also in confluence with VWAP. So it's not for lack of trying that I didn't get long. It just was not in the cards. But that's okay. There's new cards. You shuffle the deck and you see what else the universe gives you. Because I'm really just trying to see what happens here. I'm trying to stay nimble because it's a very important part of trading. So yeah, I like this look. Frank Boso saying short SMCI right here. SMCI I do not touch. It is, yeah, no, Sean's saying do it in the background. Sean like that, do it. So yeah, no, I have to say, this is not really my type of trade. We're curling up. We do have that candle to the downside, mind you, but this is just not something I want to look at. Also that bounce off of VWAP, which also comes into confluence with the earlier area of resistance at 1156. Yeah, this is not what I honestly, I'm going to be honest here, I don't have a look here. But also the spread here is pretty rough. The spread is $1.25. But yeah, I see what you mean, Frank Bo. So we could fail to make a higher high, but right now there's just really not any confluence for me. Beyond the fact that this is also super microcomputers. How are you doing over here?
Good. Got into a dip trade here on Amazon as it broke aggressively beyond 177 and then looked to come back into it. So I'm looking at that 177 as an area of support now with this market busting up here, but it's going to have to cross 21s. That's where my beak wetter is. We'll look to take some profits here at 21s, and then we'll hold a piece for the dream. It's having trouble breaking through 20. There seems to be a bit of a seller there at the 1/5 of a dollar. We'll pack our patience. I've already put my stop on the other side of 177, so if the market flushes here, and I'm seeing a bit of a topping tail candle come in on the future, then we'll get out of this one. We're also long at this same consolidative level here on RUM. It really hasn't been able to break and hold above that level, but I'm looking for a hold of this 55 penny area and then a move above through the $0.75. So packing my patience here, seeing what we get both on Rumble and on Amazon. Good trades on both today, and I don't want to give back too much, but we got to participate here in these moves, and I really like that Amazon 177 dip. It's having trouble, though, breaking again through that 20 penny area. But, you know, Amazon isn't the biggest mover and hasn't been the most volatile mover on the day. So probably packing my patience here is a good idea, and then we'll see what we get. But I think we got the lesson to start because it's after 1 now.
We do have the lesson. Also, yeah, make sure that you bubble wrap that package as you're packing your patience there for Amazon.
Okay. I shall.
Why not? We tried something. We failed. That's okay. Let's talk about risk management in volatile markets. There we go. I don't know why I always struggle opening a PowerPoint, but here we are. That's okay. We have it open. Let's talk about this. Volatile markets, you know, you could see as maybe a whitewater rapid. They can be really fun, but the whitewater rapids can also be really risky, and you can get swept away in all that price action. So how do you deal with this? Here are some crucial risk management strategies to navigate these more difficult periods. Position sizing is going to be one to keep an eye on. This is really going to refer to the amount of capital you're allocating to each trade. And in volatile markets, you might want to downsize your positions. A smaller position could limit potential losses if the market moves against you. Also worth noting, I think Neil's lesson of the day today with The Real Deal with Neil around 12 p.m. You can check that out, and I believe they're often clipped as well. But talking about when or when not to add to positions, that could also be a good lesson to keep in mind with regards to position sizing in volatile markets. So I thought I'd put that out there. There we go. Smaller size equals smaller losses. Stop loss order is also really important. These are basically going to be automatic orders that sell if your position if the price reaches a certain level. Also, we sometimes talk about mental stop loss, so knowing, hey, if price A gets to point B, I'm out of here, right? But even like stop loss orders really make sure that the price action isn't going, or you're not going with the price action. You have to leave the trade. We also have to talk about here tightening your stop loss orders. You might want to make them tighter, give yourself a little bit less wiggle room during volatile periods in order to limit potential losses on sudden price swings. We saw NVIDIA. NVIDIA went from like 890 to almost 900 in a matter of like 15 minutes, right? So some of these names are going to be a little bit more volatile, and in that case, you really want to make sure you're cognizant and setting stop losses accordingly. Taking profits early is also something you want to keep in mind when you see more volatility. Don't get greedy. Volatility can be fleeting, so you might want to consider taking profits sooner than usual in order to lock in gains before the market reverses. This is a strategy known as profit taking. It can help protect your capital, keep it safe in these whitewater rapids of volatility. Risk-reward ratio, also something to keep in mind here. This ratio is going to compare your potential profit to your potential loss in a trade. In volatile markets, you want to aim for a higher risk-to-reward ratio. So you want to be risking less than what you intend to make, because if you risk more, you could be losing a lot with all the volatility happening here. This means that really you should only be taking trades where the potential profit significantly outweighs the potential loss. So I just talked about that NVIDIA trade where I was looking to make maybe $4 on it, so I risked about $1.50. Right, so that's not an exact ratio, mind you, but it's really showing that I was giving it a little less room to run because I wanted to make a little bit more on it, right? And NVIDIA is such a volatile name that I think that could be a decent example here. Diversification, also very important. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, or as Anil was saying, maybe do put all your eggs in one breakfast if you are Sharif. But basically what this means is you want to spread your capital across different assets to help reduce your overall risk. Maybe invest in some semiconductors, maybe invest in some EVs. That was a weird example. But anyway, right, you want to spread it out and make sure that you're not putting everything into one holding, because if you see downturn in one area, it's not going to impact your entire portfolio. It'll just impact that one aspect of your portfolio, but you'll still have some strength in other areas. So in that case, maybe the EVs were a good example. We know EVs have been getting hit a skosh hard as of late. So if you've got semiconductors in your portfolio, well, you will be just fine with how those have been doing, right? So that's what diversification is really about. Hedging, also really important here too, right? You might want to consider using hedging strategies to further protect yourself. That might involve buying put options to limit your downside risk, or using futures contracts to offset potential losses in your underlying holdings. Pre-trade prep. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the emotional aspects of volatility trading, but this one's a little bit more about the planning with regards to emotions to help manage your risk before you enter the trades. Keep emotion out of those trades. That was a huge thing I was, talking about yesterday. I know Sharif says his friend Alfred, who did come on the Midday back in December, saying that you basically want to be dead inside when you trade. Or sorry, how to trade. It should have, not the Midday, came on how to trade in December. I saw the banner and I was like, how dare I? Thank you, Ramin and Fabian, for keeping me in check there. But you also want to keep your emotions in check, because it can be really hard while trading. You can get all swept up in the hubbub. You can get lost in the sauce, as our pal Obi likes to call it. So you want to make sure that you have your profit targets in mind before entering the trade and just stick to them, even in times of volatility. So that way, if things change a little bit, you still have your profits and you're good to go. You're pleased as punch, you're tickled pink. You also want to be able to distinguish between the noise or the chatter surrounding a stock and the actual signals, the tangible reasons to enter or exit a trade. So the market noise, for example, you hear, oh, X is going down, steel to the downside, US steel on that, potential Nippon steel deal falling through. Then you want to take a look at it, that would be the noise, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have a signal on that. That doesn't necessarily mean you have a trade, right? Sharif was talking about there could be a counter trend trade there, but you don't want to make assumptions. So I think that Nippon Steel actually gave us a really nice in the wild example a little bit later in the day there. Also, shout out to a woman named Melissa Brown. She's, I guess, an analyst, and that I was seeing through her notes. That's how I found this noise and signal stuff. So shout out to Melissa Brown. I think that's a really good point, and I think she's a bit more of a long-term investor as well, or financial portfolios, which I found interesting. So nice look there. Let's see what's going on in these markets.
Shout out to Neil for taking that 177 dip with me on AMZN. Look at Amazon pump up, baby, through resistance level 1. Looks like we're on our way, hopefully here, to the $0.50. I'll wet my beak on my last out there in front of the $0.50, give or take by a couple of pennies. We're long 09s, 177.09. I would have liked to had a better price. Neil's got a better price. He's long at 02s. We'll see if we can make it into that $0.50 area on AMZN. 1.16 to the good now. The trade that's dead money right now is RUM, where break even, it's trading at 860, and we're long 860. Okay, now it comes to 58, so we're 2 pennies out of the money on Rumble, but it's been sideways move here. And if you're wondering why I'm long Rumble at these levels, just go back and zoom out and look how that 855 area was a key level of resistance earlier in the day. And so what I'm looking for is for that area previously resistance to be support. What's up, Katina, man? Short NVIDIA 900, $2 in the money. Here we go, NVIDIA 900. This looks like it's going to reject, guys. Great short there for the Katina man. Look at that, baby, as it comes into that 900. Rinse and repeat. It rejected 900 twice already today. Once at 1040 and then again at 1110. So if it rejects again, it'll be the 3rd time on the day. Shout out to the Katina man. All right, let's go ahead and put our last out here on AMZN. We'll hang out at 48 and see if we can get that print. I think we got up as high as 47. So 10 pennies below that right now, hanging out at 177.37. See if we can get something in and around there, right back up into the 40s it goes. I'm hanging out at 48. See if we can get that print at 48. But you know what else is curling up? The dead one, AKA AAPL. Yes, this has been dead all day. Look what this thing is doing. Hit it, Katina, man. This one really holding that general area of 170 and a half, 170 and 2/3, 170 3/4. Essentially doing the dance, plus or minus 20 pennies north and south of 171. Now it's really extending away from the previous highs here, on its way to the volume weighted average price, which is hanging out at 171.40, 171.39. It's at 35s right now. Let's see what it does there. Very, very possible it could reject. Apple super weak on the day, down 1%, but it's still holding on to that hockey stick type pattern. So we'll see what's going on with AAPL. I want to see how it trades at the volume weighted average price. Somebody now is $3 in the money as this comes down off 900. You're not going to catch me trading that. I'd have a heart attack. Katina man, obviously a different beast. Anyway, so we'll keep an eye on NVIDIA. We'll keep an eye on Apple, and we'll keep an eye, obviously, on AMZN because we're involved in that bad boy. Let's flip back to Rumble. Rumble is going to give me an aneurysm. It's so boring at these levels. I just wanted to break above that level, but
It's getting rangy.
Yeah, it's super rangy at these levels, but the reason I got long here was for a bounce up, not a range trade.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like I wasn't ready for that type of trade, but it doesn't matter what I'm ready for. It matters what the market's going to give me. Now I'm out. So good. I had my stop in place. I'm happy about that. We end up taking a little bit of an L. We're still positive on Rumble though. And yeah, so it looks like we break down and we're not going to hold that particular level. So that level ends up giving up the ghost. Let's see what we're doing on Amazon. Nothing doing here. Hanging out in the mid to low 40s, looking for that 48 print, and I'll get out.
Yeah, no, that's a nice look there. I also had my eye on NVIDIA. I did take the 900 failure of NVIDIA short yesterday. That literally was a trade where I said I had to turn off all feeling. I was in it for less than a minute. Like I checked after on the minute chart, and I was like, we were in and out of that. That was it. Afterwards, I was like, you know, you have an adrenaline rush. Like it was a really stressful trade to be in. I understand. I totally get it, Sharif. I agree, and that's why I didn't take it this time. What I was looking for though was if we failed 899 or 900 again, because that was where I took it yesterday when we saw that repeated failure of the level. I didn't have that, so I didn't have a reason to get in. I'm watching though to see what we do at 897 because look where we had that little chop and turn earlier. I think there could be a bit of a bounce play. And when I say bounce play, I don't mean all the way up to 900. It's me. If we scalp 50 cents to $1, I'll be pleased as dang punch. And I have noticed that it's giving you a bit of opportunities. Right now, though, not one I want to get involved in. I had one failed NVIDIA trade earlier. I planned it. I'm very happy with how it was executed, even though we lost on it. So I don't really want to mess that up by punching and praying. You know what I mean? I would like, if I feel good about the setup, I shouldn't have to hope it'll go well. I should just be able to believe in it and let it happen. But Sean is pleased as punch because NVIDIA did fall off that 897. Sean, $4 in the money in NVDA. $1 for every letter in the ticker on that one. So nice look there. We can call him Sean Vidya now, I guess.
Killer Katina, baby.
Oh, we're out of NVIDIA. Or he's not.
He's fully wet his beak.
The beak is drenched.
Has been drenched, yes.
It's like, Ramin did not enjoy that analogy. But yeah, congrats to Sean on this one. Also, Ricky Paddington, hey Panera, SQM please. Yeah, I can totally take a look at that. Hopefully we'll get in some bread on these trades.
Oh, Amazon coming down. What?
Ooh.
It's still, yeah, well, that's...
Yeah, we got Tesla, we got Coinbase, $6 in the money.
Coinbase, $6 in the moolah off Coinbase. It's on its way down. I think a really good range trade was this Coinbase VWAP dip, Dara. Look at this. Look how many times we've kind of come into that VWAP area, bounced off. We didn't quite make it down this time here at 1235, but this could be another rinse and repeat type trade. Like, I mean, the Katina man has got it from up here. Yeah, I remember when he was shorting coin right at the very top. But for everybody else who didn't get that top, I think there is a range trade to be had here on VWAP with essentially 262 as a low. So we're going to have to keep watching that. Coinbase, gift that keeps on giving. Up today, though.
That's a nice look on that range. I would take it if I don't. I don't trust Bitcoin stocks. I've said this. They are way too manipulated by what Mother Bitcoin does. Obi talks about Mother Market. I think Bitcoin really, like these crypto names, they scare me a little bit, and I have taken them. To be clear, I will take a trade sometimes, a very short-term trade, but I don't want to rely on a range and something that essentially is going to do what Bitcoin does, right? So I want to be a little bit cautious of that. SQM, though, I pulled up here for Ricky Paddington. Sociedad Química y Minera. I apologize for the very poor accent there and the poor pronunciation, but this looks like a name in, where is this name based? Let's find out. Yeah, this is based in Chile, Santiago, Chile. So yeah, nice look here. We already had earnings on this name. The volume on the daily for me, we're below 300. Yeah, shout out there, Chilean Nightmare there, and that this name is from Chile. This company, SQM.
I like it.
I'm not going to attempt to say the name again. I apologize, but yeah, nice look here. On the day though, we're below 350 million. Oh yeah. Birthplace. Okay, there. Thank you very much, Fabian, shouting that out there. So yeah, shout out to Fabian and Ramin also saying pun era, P-U-N-E-R-A, making it very clear in the chat. So shout out to both Fabian and Ramin. And yeah, in terms of SQM, volume's too low for me to have a read on this one on the intraday. On the daily chart, though, I see a level. I don't want to make a squeal again, but I do see a level here on SQM. Look at this. 50.82. We're going to say 51. It's basically 51. We have this move here. We go down, make a slightly higher low, then we pop back up. We need to exceed this 51 with a viciousness because look, 51 was also the bottom of this range that we saw we were going into in November to remember. Instead of having November to remember, SQM kind of hung out at this one level. So I think breaking that level and then maybe breaking above into these 54s where we had the top of that range earlier and also the bottom of that previous trough. I like this breaking out of this 54 area. I think once you break 54s, then you're going to be watching 60s and then maybe save a piece for the dream at 64. Again, not advice, just my take on the chart. But honestly, I have to say Ricky Paddington, unfortunately, I have no intraday levels on this because it's just kind of hanging out here on the day. And also the volume is so low. We did, a little bit of a pop into that 51.15, but we're kind of petering out, falling to the downside a little bit on the 9 EMA. I hope that helps. Max Sands asking about NXPI. So let's look at NXPI. I think this is also not NXPO, but there we go. Yeah, I also, it's funny too, I just realized that it's funny that my, I was just looking at Ramin here in the chat. It's funny that my nickname is also a pun. I guess that's pretty fitting. Oh, NXPI, this is, okay, this is interesting. So we had a bit of a range earlier, this type of range that, as Sharif sometimes says, that I would be salivating over. This is not a small cap though. We're at a $250 name, NXP Semiconductors. I apologize, NXP Semi, for misstating your worth here. We had a price target increase yesterday to 300 from 270, so nice look here. Popping up above VWAP. Volume on here, though, also, as Sharif says, sometimes negligible. Volume of 540,000 shares. I think I'd be watching that area of 253.20 for a potential rejection, but that's really the only level I see here. Bit of a curl back to the upside. I would just be waiting to see what we do with it. 253.20. I do think, though, that the lows of the day seem to be a bit behind us. But again, volume a little bit weaker. NVIDIA, though, I said I was watching 897. NVIDIA's giving me 897. We may dip our baby toe into a trade with very small size. I just don't want to, I want to make sure I'm taking trades here and not missing any opportunities. So this might be a decent look if I take it with a teeny tiny amount of shareage. How are you doing?
I'm staring at X here. Shout out to Jay Lee. Great mean reversion trade, Jay. He just put, as I shouted him out, he just put something in the chat. And the reason he's putting in the chat, because he's long, baby, X. And I don't know where you took it, Jay. He says almost a $2 banger. So my man's long somewhere near 40s there. So it looks like you've got 40 and a fifth or something thereabouts, because here comes 42. I think we just did actually get a 42 touch, if not all, if not that transient. But let's see if we hold above 42. I was actually looking at 42 as a possible short, but I don't want to stand in front of this monster over here. Let's see what this one does. Down 10.75% on Joe Biden expressing concern about their acquisition, this, that, and the other. It's sent this one reeling big time below that $46 area where it had been holding above the majority of the morning. This came in, what time? 12:45 is exactly when it happened. Here we go, 42 showing up at the ask and not able to cross. That's the second time it's done that. So there's a seller there, a hidden seller at 42, and yet again we reject. Let's see if we can actually cross this time. Again, it's a hidden seller because there's nothing really reflected on the book to show us really holding or justify us really holding below that. It was all ones, nothing of significant size. And then again we reject. But let's see if we're able to hold. Break and hold above that 42. Right now, it's just quick wicks above there and then a big move back down. So that is another one that I'm looking at. That is U.S. Steel, and that is X. Amazon came down as the market rejected that general area below 18.4. It got up into 18.392, and then that sent Amazon reeling back down, but it held that 1/5 of a dollar area at 177.20s. I mean, it wicked down into 15s, but all the closing prints were closer to 20s. Here we go with a third of a dollar. It's curling back up into 30s. I've got a profit taker that almost triggered a couple of times here at 48. I considered moving it down to 45, but it wasn't quick enough on the adjustment, and then it really dipped back down. So we'll leave it there, especially if the market is going to hold above the volume-weighted average price, hold above that 50-point level, and try and attempt and make a second attempt at 18.4. The first attempt was met with topping tail candles, and then we retraced all the way back down to the volume-weighted average price. So we'll keep eyes on that. And then this is the bamboozlement that you don't like with the small cap gap style trades. And I'm talking about Rumble here, because we kept yelling about how this area was a great area of support, this area over here, owing to the fact that it was a consolidation top of this area here. It was a resistance area, and so we got long on that basis. And then obviously the bamboozlement came, and then right back up again we go. So it looks like we retook the volume weighted average price, retook that entire area, made new highs from this consolidation top above 870. It looks like we got to 81s. So bamboozlement on Rumble, but that's to be expected. It looks like I got shaken out of that one, but I'm still positive on the day with Rumble, but looking to get more if possible, and to avenge, as Adair says, that L that I just took there. So we'll continue to watch and see if we can weasel our way into Rumble again. Say that again? Yeah, I was going to bid with you, Katina, man. So the Katina, yeah, he's covered. Well, it's the opposite. I want to go long because we kept talking about how this volume-weighted average price kept bouncing off. So the Katina man just told me he's covering some here on coin as it's covered already. It's done at that 262 area, which happens to be the volume-weighted average price. And so let's see if we hold this general area. Around here, 1145, we didn't hold it to the T. We got that break, and it actually broke a little bit below it. So 261.40 was where VWAP was. We made it all the way down to 260.58, so almost $1. So you're going to have to give this room. And I've heard the Katina man say, owing to the spread on Coinbase, that you're going to have to give this thing room. If you're not giving it $1, maybe don't trade it. Because number one, it's spready. Number two, it's moving dollars at a time here. I think the last time I looked at the spread, it was like 40, 50 pennies. So we'll continue to watch, see if we get any bounce here on the volume weighted average price. Right now, it is coming down. Here it comes 261, 261.50 broke, 261 and a third. I just saw printed there. So that's why I didn't have a resting order at volume weighted average price. It needs to prove that it's going to hold that area. And then as my friend Neil says, let's get it on the back end once it starts printing those green candles showing you that, look, I'm going to hold up at this level. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to do that, Katina man, as it's on its way down to 261. We'll see if it ends up holding and puts in a couple of green candles. Right now, it's a sea of red, uninterrupted 5 red candles to the down side on Coinbase. Let's check Rumble real quick here, Ram, as this one looks like it wants to hold VWAP at the moment. We got bamboozled out of this. I mean, look at this range over here. 24s to the downside, 81s to the top side, all within two candles over here. So yeah, this one had a lot of volatility and we got weaseled out of this one. That's all right. We'll look to a different trade, or if not this trade again, at a different price. So keep watching. Let's check back on AMZN, see what that one is doing. Okay, Amazon right back into the highs, baby. Woo. And let's see if we can get that 48 print, because we've been sitting at 48s forever. And, well, we want the print. So what's your look over there, Neil, on Amazon? He's out. So the Neil has taken all his profits on that one. I think I might flatten out here. I mean, I don't really need to fight over a few pennies. And so that's the end of the trade there.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit unfair if you did not say, oh boy, when looking at the Amazon chart, in honor of the Amazonian himself.
He's twirling his pen as we speak.
Is he? I didn't even notice.
He's quite the pen twirler. Yeah.
Shout out to Obi, always killing it. And honestly, like, so Amazon is not really a stock that I trade that much. So I always thought it was really cool. I always appreciate his insights on that trade. And also, I know he and I were talking once in the midday, I believe, maybe right before New Year's when he came on and substituted. And I was, we were talking about certain stocks, the books move different ways. You can kind of become accustomed to that. So I thought that was really cool. And shout out, as always, to him. Nick Free, thank you so much for the €5 super chat here. I love thoughts on LICY long. I love her show. First thing I turn on when I get off work in Germany. Shout out to you. And thank you so much for the super chat. Li-Cycle Holdings, I believe this is lithium adjacent. Let me get the specifics on this company here. They do have yes, lithium ion battery recycling. There we go, says it all in the name. I love that. LICY. Let's see let's check the NY, see what this one's doing. There we go. LICY. Okay, this is nice. I'll look at the longer term. Yeah, I think, yeah, Lucy Long, so I think probably in the longer term. But yeah, I think in terms of what we're seeing, this is a penny stock. On the day, I think, you know, it's not a bad look for the long right now. I think we had a pseudo double bottom, not exact, but around that 66, 67 penny level, curling to the upside for sure. I think if we can eclipse that high of 81 cents, I think that'd be a nice look. Not advice, just my take on the chart. And of course, then that earlier high of 91 would be a nice look, because we're lower than we have been earlier today, but we're curling back up, I think, right? We're seeing higher highs, higher lows since we made that bottom there at 11. Also, the story on this one, yesterday the company entered an agreement to issue a senior secured convertible note in an aggregate principal amount of $75 million to an affiliate of Glencore. So nice look. I think this LCY is a nice look. Yeah, Ricky, my shirt is not Prada, but thank you for saying that. It is from The Gap. But yeah, so yeah, I think this LICY, honestly, for that super chat, nice look. Let's see on the daily. Yeah, thank you, Nick Free, for checking this out and bringing this one to my attention. I think yesterday some people were mentioning LICY as well. Yeah, I think, you know what's interesting is look where we wicked up into, that 90-cent area. I stand by that 90-cent area being important. I think both on the intraday and on this daily chart, if we can close above 90 cents, I think that'd be a nice look for LICY. That's really my only read on this, though, and I hope that helps. And thank you very much for the super chat. This NVIDIA, though, I was really proud of myself for taking a scalp here. Someone was saying, you know, you could have saved a piece for the dream there on the long, and honestly, I'm happy I didn't, because it wouldn't have been true to my style of trading. I really like what I did here, though. Cash cow.
Yeah.
What are you in, Sean?
No, that's a good job on NVIDIA.
Oh, thank you.
You covered that.
Yeah.
Katina Man covered at 896 and now at 906. So he's, you know, shouting out Adara.
Thank you very much. Again, shout out to Sean for that. Yeah, I just got involved. I said I like that 896.7 level. We held that 90 MA like a glove. I was going to leave if we got below 896. We didn't. We bounced, and I just kind of wanted to get out before the 899. So I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, thank you.
Adara, we just made yet another attempt at that 18.4 or general area, and we're being met with more selling. Last time around, we got right into this level over here. We didn't get it on a closing basis. It was a quick wick into 18.392s, and then we tanked all the way back down to 53s. Yet another attempt here at 9.3s, and there we go right back down again into 8.2s. I mean, we're not too far away, but right now what I'm seeing is a hammer candle form, baby, on the future. So if it closes like this, it's awfully bearish. Of course, you don't want to put too much stock into one trade, but I'm watching the future right now. It's putting quite the 5-minute hammer candle. With respect to things that are flushing, look at Coinbase Go, baby. Where do we get down into there, Katina Man? 260.49. Katina Man printed several dollars, and by several I mean seven, excuse me, on that. But look at this. It didn't hold up above VWAP this time around, right? So now do we get some support at the whole dollar level? I mean, you could sit at the whole dollar level, look to get filled, and then a dip below the whole dollar level, you get out. But if you're going to do that, I got to tell you, it's awfully spready. So make sure you're either using a market stop or your limit order, your limit stop is wide enough between the trigger and the limit price to kind of encapsulate the price action that Coinbase has here. So right back down to 260. That is the lowest we've been since essentially 10 a.m. this morning. It was all the way up almost to 270 at times, 269.39 HOD on the day. It's right now at 260 and a quarter, but it is very spready name, so you may not get the price you want. Right now, look at this. It's a 15 penny spread. Now it's a little bit tight. Now it's 30 pennies. So yeah, there we go. Now it breaks down below 260, Katina Man. This one looks like it may be headed into break-even territory, which takes it to 256. So it'll be $3 from where we are. Where Coinbase stops, I do not know. But it had an obvious double top here. Obvious, I say obvious ex post facto, but a nice double top looking shape here at 266 or thereabouts. So good look on AMZN. Let's flip back into Sorry, Coinbase. Let's flip back into AMZN. So right back into 40s we go. This one went without me, man. We got everything out at 45, and this one went to 62. Now it's back down to 41. So we don't get top wick, but you know, whatever. That's fine. Positive on the Amazon trade. Took the breakout trade, took the range trade on Amazon. I never really trade Amazon either, so I'm happy about that. Let's see what else is popping off here. Is the future rejecting? Well, we're in the 70s, so yeah, kind of. We'll see what this one does. Jay Lee. Now X is at 42.30. I sold too soon, LOL, but it's still a great trade. It is, Jay. Let's flip back into X over here and have a look at the trade that you had. What the hell? Let's see what, yeah, this one's continuing to go, Jay. But if you try to take the 42 initial break, you were, well, it depends on where you had your stop, but it came all the way into 41 and a quarter. So you would have had to give this monster 75 pennies worth of range, and that, I mean, I probably wouldn't have given it that much, just speaking for myself here. Now, let's watch out what it does at 43 and a half. Why? Because, well, look at this consolidation area here on the big boy Huadunk. We kind of ranged a little bit, slowed down our descent right at that 43, in between 43 and a quarter to 43 and 2/3, essentially. We had some support, well, not support, just a range in and around there. When we make it back up there, if we make it back up there, what happens? So I'll be on the lookout. Nessa, $20 super chat. Jeez Louise. Just want to buy y'all a cup of coffee, as trading and hosting a show is extremely hard. Sharif, Adair, Neil, Sean, shoutouts. Shout out to you, Nessa. Thank you very much for the super chat. It is hard. I got to tell you the truth, and it's not going to probably get any easier. Well, because you want to improve as a trader, and if you improve as a trader, you usually increase your size. Say it again, Katina, man. It only gets easier, he said. Well, that's not something to look forward to straight up. So thanks. Well, that's true. That's true. I was thinking it wouldn't get easier because I'd be increasing my share size, but you know, that's my problem. So we'll continue to watch and see what's there. Much appreciated, says the Katina man, and multiple cups of coffee thrown in the chat there, Darryl.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Nessa. Yeah, our whole team, like Brendan, Ramin, Fabian, everyone in the back, like I know I always sound like I'm like, you know, accepting an Oscar, but I literally am just so grateful and happy to be here and learning. So that's, you know, I really appreciate that. Also, this Tesla, I did get involved in this long. I was looking at, it was funny, I was looking at P&L and I was like, it's really funny that, you know, I had that NVIDIA trade I was really proud of, but honestly, the name that I've had the most success with today has been Tesla, and it's just been these, what I call micro ranges. So we found another one here. We had that nice bounce off that 170, 120 area. Basically what I did is I have enough for 2 beak wetters here. I'm gonna be taking some out around that 170, 150 area where we had that earlier chop and turn and that earlier rejection. Also, I did have all these lines drawn earlier, and then my P-Pro 8 chart took a little bit of a nap, so it erased all my lines, but I can still, because I spent so long drawing them, I can still kind of, you know, envision them. I still know where my levels are. Then look at that rejection earlier at 172. As Sharif says sometimes, I want all the smoke. So we'll be getting out at 172. I'm not staying beyond that point. Also, in terms of my stop, I have planned, if we get to that 170, 115, I'll add to the position because that was an earlier area. We had the bottom of that little baby range. Then if we break below that bottom of 170.95, I'm going to be out. So I'm pretty happy with this, I have to say. I like how it's set up. I realize I have just waxed poetic about the entry of a trade, but that's what we're talking about, planning and volatility today. So why not? That's the look here on the Cybertruck. Nessa's saying, yes, much love to the others you mentioned. So Nessa's spreading all the love over here as well. So thank you very much. We're all just happy to be here and trade. Tesla, if you could get above my point of entry, that'd be great. But we'll have to see what we do here. Right. If not, I could get that dip by, and I'd also be pleased as punch. So that's the trade. That's really the only thing I have my eye on as of right now, if I'm being honest. Also, IWM, I know Mahmoud was mentioning earlier it was a short. It did curl back up here, though. But it, like, honestly, to me, this one's a little bit too confused to kind of have a true read on it. That 206... 15 bounce is not really one of the earlier areas I identified, so we'll see what happens.
I like it. All right. Coinbase is trying to work its way back above 260, or is it? It is. What am I saying? So the chart didn't update there. Sorry. 261. So it does hold that general 260 level. Good look for coin as it tries to recover at the moment here. So if you're waiting maybe at that 260, I mean, that wasn't a trade I want to take, to be honest with you, but we break 260. We do. We make our way down 59.63, so it's not by that much, but we generally hold 60 area. In fact, the closing prints are all at 260 and a third. So we make our way now back above 261. It's still below VWAP on the day, but it's not like a small cap gapper. It's not like I won't trade this if it's trading south of VWAP. That's not how I trade these type of names. So we'll see what we get here. It's been how many attempts here on the future to try and take that 18.4. We've been getting multiple topping tail candles in and around this area over here. Like, look at all these topping tail candles trying to break through the pivot point area to try to go green on the day. Well, going green, sorry, we have to go above 18.478 just to, I guess, to break above 18.4. But it's been met with a wall of selling so far. So we'll have to see if we can bamboozle some sort of trade that takes us above 18.4. So questions to be asked. Let's have a look at what these mega cap names are doing. Wow, NVIDIA, geez Louise. Talk about ranging all day with VWAP, and then comes like 1 o'clock, and that's the end of it. That's all she wrote there. So this one breaking through, looking to go green on the day. It's got to get into that 920 level, or 19 and a quarter to go green, but it's coming into pivots at 908, rejected initially at pivots. And it really did respect pivots as, I guess, a level of support earlier. We did get a couple of bounces here on the 5-minute look on pivots before giving up the go. So if we do get back into that area at 908, 909, be on the lookout for this area over here, because this could actually act as resistance. It was initially support, so we could, find some issues with our ascent up on NVIDIA owing to this price action over here. But I gotta say, this is in the pre-market too. So now that I've noticed in the pre-market, we have to give it a little bit less weight. Looks like NVIDIA is on the way up, man. Unreal. Good look for NVDA on the day. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I have to say, I was also looking at Neil's chat saying rule number one in NVIDIA, no matter how weak it has looked, if I scalp a breakout long, it's going further. So yeah, NVIDIA basically having its own physics is kind of the gist of that. Definitely not something anyone here can disagree with. I got out because I was very worried about what we do at that 900, because we have failed 900 before. Yesterday, that 900 failure was vicious. And NVIDIA's like, oh, cool. We don't care about what we did in the past. We're going to keep going. So gotta let her do her thing, 21. Pardon?
Holy shit, with the 97
Yeah.
That's a really good entry, and he swore a lot there too, so it's funny.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
I know. He doesn't have a mic on, obviously, but we could tell.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Darren. But yeah, so I have this Tesla still. The Cybertruck kind of running out of, it doesn't have gas, but it's running out of charge, I guess. It needs to get another jolt here in the charge. I know you said, you guys finally got the chargers, right, for the EVs at you're saying your condo, right?
We're getting one. It still hasn't been installed.
Okay.
They approved one measly charger in the guest parking spots, Adara, and that's for a condo of I don't know, several hundred people.
Seems like a large, well, it's a Toronto condo, so.
Say again? I'm still waiting on the replacements. I had to send them back in. Still waiting on that one. Now they're back order on the ones that I want. Ram's asking me about my Meta glasses. I got the matte black ones, and so they only have the shiny black ones. The matte black ones are on back order. So got to wait for those, but they'll be in very soon. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm talking about resale value here, Dara. Now, look, not everybody's driving an EV. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, but there is a growing amount of people that want electric vehicles. Now, if I come to sell my condo, how is that make me look to all the people who have electric vehicles? They're going to be like, no thanks.
They don't want it, because they can't charge their vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to be a muggle and rely on the supercharging stations or these random stations everywhere. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, yeah.
That's the point. So it makes the resale value less attractive to those who want to move it. So at least give me one, Danks. If not one, at least a couple of charging stations, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is I guess I could not stop. The Cybertruck needs to stop somewhere. Needs a little jolt. I will say we're holding 171 remarkably well. Like I said, I'm watching what we do at 171.95S.
Okay.
We're holding it really well. I did get my little dip buy there at 171.13, a very random number, but I used it as the bottom of that earlier micro range. So I'm pretty happy with this. Taking out some profit a little bit earlier than I thought. When I say scalpulation, I really mean just having a plan and having allowing little areas to adapt if the car goes a little bit off-road, to use the Tesla analogy still. But yeah, we're going to get out some of this at 171.37 because that was an area we struggled with and I honestly should have scalped out some profit earlier. That's cool. And then if we get into that 170.160, I'll see what we do. If we do okay there, I'm going to keep holding a piece for the Dreamer 172s. If we stall a little bit, if we need another recharge, we're going to get out of the trade. I'm not adding anything to this. I'm pretty happy with where we are, and I would like us to continue to hold that 171. And if we don't, I'll get out. I'm really trying to get less emotionally attached to trades because it's just a trade. It's just some numbers on a screen with some pictures. You know what I mean? And I know it's a little bit different because I know I am still in the sim, but I think if I get into this attitude now, it'll hopefully be a little bit easier to understand if I go live, which I would like to do someday.
I like it. I'm just keeping eyes on the future. I want to know what we do at this 18.4 general area, so I'm gonna continue to watch. I got in super quick. It didn't continue in the direction that I anticipated. I thought it was going to make higher lows. It made a lower low, so I just flattened out right away. Lost very, very small. As you can see, basically the entry and the exit are almost overlapping. So watch in here, you see what we do. The thing is about this is when you just use this as your entry your starting point over here. We've been holding these higher lows excellently on the future ever since that bottom and tail candle through 18.28 into 18.281. We've put in consecutively higher lows. We've put consecutively higher highs. I'd like to get in at the best area that I can bamboozle, so that I don't have to give it too much space for a stop. So I'll continue to watch this. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. JF Trader, the market will eventually settle with hybrid vehicles. You're not the first person I hear say that. So we'll see. The Piper, start charging EVs with a really noisy generator. They may change their mind. You are brilliant, The Piper. I shall do that, and then I'll get kicked out. No, it's I own the condo, but they can, they can force you out. They can sue you and have you forced out. That's like if you don't pay your condo fees, they can do that to you too. Jay Lee, condos are silly. Only type of real estate that you pay half rent continuously. Hope you get into non-condo and save. Don't get me started, Jay, about the maintenance fees that I have to pay, which is like a mortgage in and of itself, from which you get no equity. So yeah, totally hear you on that. Can't afford a house in Toronto right now. Anybody who knows exactly what I'm talking about. So that would be nice. It's the dream. It's the dream. And working towards that, hopefully, slowly but surely. Steph B, please look at TGT. Thanks. That's very kind. Very polite. Absolutely, I will look at TGT for you. Let's see what Target's up to on the day. So Target is down 1.25%. It's seeming to have a bit of an issue, Steph, with this 166 or general level over here. So we got up into 166 after Big Boy dropping into that 164 area. We got a lot of bottoming tail candles here, which showing you buyers are getting in at that price, basically overwhelming sellers and causing the price to bounce back up. And that's exactly what we got. But now we're kind of doing this consolidation dance south of 166. So it looks like the opposite is happening here. We're wicking up into that $166 area, only to be met with either profit taking or short sellers getting in at that level. We've been doing that essentially since 12:45. It's 1:45, so an hour worth of $166 rejections. I mean, you either take this 166 level short, play the range, or wait for the breakout. Those are the options I would say, right? So you're gonna wait for that 166 to get taken on a closing basis to the north side and take the breakout trade, or you look to play the range between, say, 165.5 into that 166 area, or you look to get short at 166 or thereabouts. That would be what my suggestion to you would be for that particular trade. I hope that helps. Jay Lee, sorry, I know that's really that's the reality in Toronto, but still always bothers me. My sister was paying like $700 for per month for the maintenance fees. It's exactly what I'm paying. I'm minus $15, bro. So that's just the way it is, and there's really nothing that can be done about that because, well, the maintenance fees aren't going to get any less. And let me tell you, they were trying to, every condo has to have these, this rainy day fund. Ours is $1 million, all right, either 1 or 2 million, I forget, it's statutorily required. And so what they were doing was they wanted the provincial government to give them statutory authority to take that rainy day fund and to use it for the electric vehicle expansion. And they didn't get that authorization, so they don't have money. Either you raise the maintenance fees on everybody in the condo, and then you have the murder of the board, which because they will kill the board of directors at my condo if they raise maintenance fees anymore. No, I'm kidding. Or you get the money from somewhere else. I mean, there's only a finite way we can get the money. So
that's hard.
You're bang on, Jay. I mean, that's just the way it is around here. Nice skin. Do you think can solar in today's earnings? Can the cybersecurity AI hype translate into some good earnings? That's a really interesting question. I mean, the cybersecurity names have all been getting rinsed as of late. Look at what happened to Zscaler. Look at what happened to PanW. Even CrowdStrike. They had a fantastic earnings on CrowdStrike, but they ended up getting rinsed as well. So I'm not really sure what to make of that play. I'm just gonna have to respectfully decline to comment on that. It's been tough to understand exactly what's going on in the cybersecurity industry. I thought that we'd be flying up here given all the cybersecurity hacks and the break-ins that we've been having and the stealing of data.
Yeah.
I figured we'd have more. Maybe they've run up too much, Adara. I mean, I don't know, right? Kanye East, come to the US and A. My sister lives in America. You know, obviously she's American, so I've got love for Americans, no question about that. John Del Segno. I'm not reading that,
I have that chart
bro.
up, though, for PanW.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not reading that.
No, I'm not either. But I know Jean Del Segno. I know also Renata mentioning this, some other people in the chat mentioning PanW. I actually had it pulled up before I saw that message, so may as well take a look at that one. 290, just about 290 area. This is a fascinating area for me. A little bit of range, top and turn. Whoo, we fly up to 291.50. We come back down to 290, hang out a little bit, curl back up, 291.50. This is, right here is a range. Very sad I missed it, but this is a beautiful look, I think, here on PANW. Yeah, I think, honestly, we're up on the day here. I don't see a catalyst on this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just Stifle maintaining the same rating and price target. So it's just, they're just saying, hey, we still like PanW as a buy with a 330 price target. So it's not a bad catalyst. It's just not really anything. You know what I mean? There's nothing new there. But nice look here. We have this nice kind of curl up here. Now dancing up along the 9 EMA. Let's look at the daily chart on PANW. Yeah, I mean, like Sharif just said here beautifully, we did get a little bit chewed up on earnings on some of these cybersecurity names. We had that top here around 280. Then we start to churn a little bit to the downside. We fall at 370, and then we gap down after earnings to about where is this? Let me get my little trusty thing here. 265. Yeah, so then we really did fall. We're already, though, kind of coming to try to make a higher low. However, you know what area I think is going to be interesting? Look at that 280. We had that little bounce at 280, come back up. Then we come back to 280. We saw 280 in a closing level here on that first candle to the upside after earnings on the 26th. So I think 280 could maybe be a little bit interesting as a support area. I think eclipsing that 303 area, again, another post-earnings move would be interesting. Then if we come above that 316, I think it's a nice look.
Ram just let me know that CNBC had a headline that the Pentagon was going ahead and canceling that $2.5 billion that they were going to give Intel. We got that headline this morning. Not sure if they were going to follow through with it. There's still the option, obviously, that the Commerce Department steps in and fills the gap. I believe the Commerce Department's on a hook, on the hook for $1 billion of that $3.5 billion, and it was supposed to be the Pentagon that ponied up that other 2.5. So it's going to be up to the Commerce Department if they want to fill the gap for that 2.5. We'll see if they've got the money or how many other treasuries they got to sell in order to come up with the money there. Let's see. Courtney Blake, for someone who scalps the SPY and the Q options on a regular, can you please give me any insight on scalping NVDU or NVDX? Thanks for any info and tips. Greatly appreciated. Look, I'm not even going to look at the NVIDIA names. I know those are all NVIDIA derivatives there that you can trade and, you know, with not as much per price. But what I would say to you is look for key areas of support and resistance and then put size at that area with a tight stop. You may hit once, you may hit twice, and even if you don't, right? The thing is to keep your losses small and let your winners win. A lot easier said than done, but that's really the idea behind scalping. You're getting in big size at a key area of resistance or support, tight stops. Try not to DCA into those because you know how NVIDIA does. And if you have to stop out, you know, a couple of times to make your move, then so be it. That's what I would suggest to you on that. Look for key areas of support and resistance, put size, and take the small dubs and have tight stops. All right, futures, right back up we go again. So I was scalping the future over here, got long 70, took it out at 77, and this one's on its way to 91. So we have yet another attempt at 18.4. Look how many topping tail candles we put in this afternoon at 18.4. It's a lot. So I feel like the sellers are stepping up aggressively every time we come into that general vicinity of 18.4, that 100-point level. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be 18.4 on the day, even though I'm always looking at the 100-point level. I thought really it was going to be that 410 or 412, owing to this consolidation bottom that we had here before the big boy Huadunk came in there after the bell. But it looks like we're gonna do the dance with the 100-point level, and we have been essentially since 105 today. So almost an hour of topping tail candles into 18.4, and then maybe dipping down to 18.3 2/3 or thereabouts, generally that area. We'll see if we can get a break and hold above 18.4. I think it changes the dynamic of the trading day if we can break above 18.4 and hold, not just a quick wick and wham bam, thank you, see you later there. So let's see what else is popping off. Amazon right back into highs again at 62s, or sorry, 51s right now. High is 62. So this one putting in higher lows, higher high. We had several good trades on AMZN, but it looks like it may not be done on the day. So we'll have to wait and see what this one does. Let's flip to the small cap gappers here, see if any of them are popping off. Rumble still holding that 855 area. Wow, I can't believe this. So it gave you a quick move below and above the level, right? So the 855 was the consolidation area top. Now it looks like it's holding as the consolidation area bottom. That isn't without its bamboozlement, though, Adara, as we did have that 115 candle that stopped me out, that took us all the way down to 8 1/4, and then we had another candle in case you were trying to short the top there. The algos were going to get you on this one no matter what. 882 to the top side and 825 to the downside, and then yet we're still ranging some way, somehow. We'll see how this ends up resolving on the day, but something tells me Rumble might be a multi-day play. Last but not least, just cover this one quick because the Katina man was in this Coinbase short, and this one over here basically, well, that wasn't a fail, bro. It was a $6, $7 winner. Come on, like don't hit the fail on that, Katina man. Look, what we were thinking, maybe this finds its legs like it did twice prior at the volume weighted average price, which at the time was 262. But we're $4 south of that now as it goes down into 258 and looking to break that 258. Adara, 4 minutes left on.
I can't believe it's only 4 minutes. This is a crazy day. Yeah, that Rumble, way to talk, like we talk sometimes about support holding becoming resistance. Rumble, we had support becoming very dead range. That's really what we had here. We're at the top of that range, becoming the middle of this. Kind of looks like, you know, like the sound. It kind of looks like some kind of sound thing. Speaking of sound, a lot of people mentioning sound wave. That's what it looks like. Some people were mentioning sound hound. So let's look at sound hound. I know you were barking with the sound hounds yesterday. This is an interesting one. 755. We had that pop up. Then we come in to kind of find support earlier. Now just kind of chopping and turning. Kind of similar look to Rumble, although a little bit more active than Rumble. But you know what else I want to look at is Amazon. Congrats to you in that Amazon trade. I just look at this and laugh. I said every time I try to enter an Amazon range trade, the second I get in, the range falls out on me. That's what happened here. I have to say, I'm proud of myself. I got out.
Yes.
I gave it a really tight range. I said if we break below 176.74, I'm out. We did. I left. Amazon's like, cool, bye, Adara, we're gonna keep running. So there we go. I honestly, like, I wouldn't have even set it as a wider stop though. I'm happy with where I set my stop because I was planning on scalping it, so I can't complain. I just want to point out the humor in that. Congrats to you and Neil for killing that 177 break long though, because this is a fantastic look on this Amazon trade, continuing to have nice little bounces here off that 172.20 and off the 9 EMA locally. I think that's a pretty nice look, but I would be remiss if I did not mention NVIDIA. We come into that 906, which is also, look earlier, we had that resistance earlier. Oh, sorry, support, I always, you know what I mean. We had that little support here at 906, then we pop up into 9 14, then we fall with a viciousness. We find that 900 area, then we continue to fall. Now let's go back to when we had that move up. Again, shout out to Neil, who was scalping this one on the way up from 900. We come into 906, then we're seeing a little bit of faltering, which is, you know, maybe support becoming resistance. So I think that's an interesting area. One thing I would note, though, is we're still riding that 9 EMA to the upside. To me, I know it's not always going to be level, but NVIDIA today on the way back up has really been respecting the 9 EMA. I think a 9 EMA dip below could maybe be interesting in terms of if we see reversal, but I think that's a good support area.
Can I show you something?
Please do.
One is the chart on NVIDIA. It's on the left. And the chart on the right is the futures. And I said this word for word to Brendo. I'm like, the futures chart is becoming more and more and more similar to NVIDIA's chart. And these two are echoing one another today. Look at the similarities. On the left is the NQ June contract. On the right is the NQ June contract. On the left is NVIDIA. And I've been seeing this a lot more every day, Adara. The future really starting to mimic NVIDIA here. So something to be on the lookout as we've got 1 minute left on the show.
That's crazy. Neil saying NVIDIA and Schmidia, SMCI high of day. Let's look at SMCI as we say SMC buy. Yeah, wow, nice pop-off view up. Yeah, someone earlier was saying, would you short this? I wouldn't short it. I'm happy I didn't too, because we are continuing to see that climb up. But you know, to each their own. As long as you have a strategy, we were talking about that earlier today too, right? If you have a risk management strategy, if you have a plan, very good for you. But we are done now for today. We will see you tomorrow, same bat time and the same bat channel.
Ram screaming and Brendo's fumbling.
I just saw that as well. Yeah, we can talk a little. Yeah, we had fumble talking about Rumble, but now we're good and we're going to be flipping over to the big desk with Brendan.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome back in a couple hours.